Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this game or watching this game. Welcome to Touchline Thoughts special episode where we're going to cover on Twitch the Women's Champions League final. I am joined by my co-host Paige Culver. How you doing, man? How's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Wonderful. I'm excited. We have not tried this. I mean, this has been like the last 2 weeks has been let's try something new. Obviously, I've talked about this endlessly, I should say, about our Instagram page, our logo, and then you and me having a new team there. But
Right.
we're trying something new with Twitch now. So I hope everyone listening enjoys and is enjoying the game.
Right. Stay with us for technical difficulties, but I think you will be fine.
And the man, the creator behind Garage Door Sports, who does the production work, he's going to be handling all the graphics, and he's also going to lend us his voice during the game today. Nick McVicar, thank you so much for taking the time out for your Sunday to come sit with us and talk some footy, man. Thank you. And how are you?
I'm good, man. Always happy to talk footy. You know that. Never an issue when I get to talk footy.
Sick, man. And I know you were mentioning this earlier, but what do you make of the Champions League this year? Is this something that you're looking forward to for this massive game, or is just something I don't know? Like, what are you looking forward to about this game? I should say.
I mean, as an English soccer fan, I'm looking forward to the fact that there's an English club in the final. The fact that it's Chelsea is a little painful to say, but it's English football. I like seeing English football, and Chelsea has been one of the best squads all year across all competitions. So it's nice to see them getting the recognition that they deserve, and they've dominated. Let's not deny that their run through the Champions League. So now that they're here, it's kind of just like perfect. We get to see one of the best teams.
Of course. This is probably a question. I know there's no Lyon this year for the first time in quite some time, Paige. Are we starting to see a shift in the power balance, I guess, in women's soccer?
Yeah, I think you are. I mean, even next season, I think there'll be a huge change. There's a lot of leaving France, like leaving Lyon. So it's kind of nice to see the switch because, Lyon's been champions for 5 years. So I'm excited. There's not a French team in the final, but it's all right.
Fair enough. And Nick, what do you think? Is this also the start of something new, or is this just a one-off year for either PSG or Lyon?
I think it might be a one-off year not to have a French team in the final, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Like the fact that we're getting teams from all these other places, I think that's a good thing for women's soccer because it's not being stuck with, oh, it's going to be Lyon or PSG every single year over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. We're getting teams that are getting significantly better. The English game is getting significantly better. Let's not forget, before it was one of the top. I wouldn't say it was at the top the last couple of years with the German and the French domination. And now we're seeing the English squads do a lot better over and over again. So I'm excited that I think it's going to take women's soccer in the proper direction and get a bunch of top leagues as opposed to one or two top leagues with the second tier being the next group of them.
For sure.
Well, I think this shows how competitive it's becoming, like, worldwide. And it's not, like you said, it's not just one league dominating anymore. I mean, you've got two great teams from two different leagues here, and you had 4 great teams from 4 different leagues that were competing to be in the finals. So
absolutely. And I mean, we're seeing more European players and more North American players, especially Canadian love and talents, make their way into Europe and try and compete for the biggest title that Europe has to offer. And that's obviously the Champions League, whether you're on the men's side or the women's side. We have a Canadian here who's on the bench for Chelsea. Why don't we talk a little bit about her? Jessie Fleming. She's not getting the start, but could we see her come into the game to replace anyone in the midfield, or maybe turn that formation into a 4-4-2 and just give her a chance to come in and run the game out there, Paige?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you've seen it throughout the season. She comes in late just to give a little bit of change to the game. She's got a lot of pace and she's got a lot of stamina. I think it's good for Canada soccer having a Canadian on the bench, and she's still quite young. So just to gain the experience, I mean, they're champions and now they're fighting for Champions League. So not a lot of Canadians can say that. So I think it's great. And I hope she gets minutes in this game because it's a big game.
Oh, I hope so. I mean, why don't we, Nick, are you okay with flipping to that graphic? Why don't we talk a little bit about our starting lineup here? Who's your first one there? Is it Chelsea?
Yeah, we got Chelsea up first. So that's right there. There you go, buddy.
So a 4-4-3, solid formation, something that Emma Hayes is relied on for most of the season, just because of when you want to have Pernille Harder, Samantha Kerr, and Frank Kirby, which is, guys, by the way, that's absolutely ridiculous. How gross is that starting three? And Nick, I'll start with you on that one. What do you make of that?
Are you watching the game?
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut you off for fun. Yeah. There's been a goal already. We are less than a minute in.
Up 1-0.
Oh, I didn't come up on my screen. Hold on. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, Barca just scored to go up 1-0. They had a nice attack down that left side.
And I can see it now. Yep, cutting it.
I'm blanking on her name.
Oh, Leek Mertens.
Yeah, Mertens
that
came
shot
down the left side.
Martens she's the Netherlands player.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
That was a bunch of bounces in the box.
For those of you watching, I am behind.
So I'll keep you up to date, Irfan. I'll do the play-by-play, keep you focused, and then you just
thank you, and I'll ask the questions. I'll just host. Thank you very much.
We'll update you.
See, this is what happens when you have, an Android box. It's legal. Don't worry. But thanks for that.
Did any of you guys predict this happening?
Early goal, yes. I had early goal. I didn't have who was scoring early, but I had early goal.
Oh,
I mean, I'll take it. I've been cheering for Barcelona, so I'm not mad at it. But I think we're going to see an interesting game.
Yeah,
that pass comes off Jenny Hermoso, boys and girls. I'm just saying that was.
Who was the key player?
We'll get to that. Don't worry. But let's do the Barca starting lineup quickly before another goal happens, Irfan.
Did we finish Chelsea there? I don't.
Do you want to go back to? We can go back.
Yeah,
to Chelsea.
Go back to Chelsea. Okay. I was just asking. That front three is absolutely deadly. Obviously, they need to score a goal now because they're 1-0 down in the finals. But Nick, what do you make of that ridiculous top three?
Oh, they almost scored. They're
guys,
good. They are very, very good, and you can lean on any one of them to make incredible plays. I'm a huge fan of Pernille Harder. I think that's just because of my talking with Kieran. He's a Harder fan, so it's. I think they're going to be dangerous, and this attack is probably better than Barca's attack, and it'll just depend on how many opportunities they get.
Oh, absolutely, and I agree with you there. There was a question on Twitter that I think I'll post to you, Paige. Who's the better goalkeeper between the two clubs? Is it Berger or the Barcelona? I can't remember her name.
Panos?
Yes.
I think that's how you say it.
Panos, yes.
I'm gonna say the Chelsea goalkeeper has been more consistent because if you look at their history through this season, I think she's been pretty solid and quality. Whereas I think Barcelona, especially because they're not in as a competitive league, so for me, I would say the Chelsea goalkeeper is going to be key. I mean, the goal was a good goal, so we can't take that away from her.
No, of course. We're on the Barcelona lineup there. Another 4-4-3, more so a false nine for Luis Cortez's side. Is this something that I know this is something he uses all the time, but is it to mainly counter Chelsea, or it's just to try and give Jenny Hermoso that opportunity to dip into the midfield or dip into other parts of the pitch, Paige?
I think he gives her the opportunity to come collect the ball, and like we said, Chelsea's defense is quite good, so I think you're gonna find her coming deep a lot this game. Yeah,
which is something she's normal. That's normal for her, especially in her Spain career, where at the World Cup, that's what she was doing, was coming all the way back, retrieving and still finding her way to get into the pockets of space that you don't necessarily think a player is going to do, but she's one of those gifted players.
Well, I mean, she's a playmaker too. Like she creates big moments throughout games. So if she can't find the ball, she's going to come back and get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just saw the pressure. I mean, I'm probably behind, but in the pressure to get that thing. So please let me know.
A couple minutes behind.
I'll do the play-by-play for you, Irfan. That's why you brought me on, right? That's the whole reason that I'm here.
I'll just reset my system and hope for the best. But so far so good. First couple of minutes. I mean, you guys are probably more than a couple of minutes ahead. I'm still behind, but very entertaining. And this is something that you want in a final, not a drab final. And I think of a boring final when I go back to AC Milan against Juve early in the 2000s when it was just boring. And I'm talking, men's final here, but it was such a boring final. And I just don't want that to happen again. So I'm glad that there's some good passing. There's some good pressure. Barcelona's maintaining.
Think of the kits.
Which kits are we talking about?
Which ones?
We'll start with Barca.
I like the I like the green.
I don't like the pink.
Oh,
You
yeah.
like the pink and the green together?
No, they're awful together. That's why I don't like the pink.
And what do you think about the new Chelsea jerseys?
Why is it yellow? Why is there a yellow strip? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing is if you look at the Chelsea logo, there's always been yellow in the Chelsea logo, right? It's
True.
always there. I mean, it's a goldy yellow, so it's not the same yellow, but they've always had that as a alternate color if needed, sort of thing. So I don't mind them incorporating it, especially the very little bit that they have. It's not like it's overbearing in any sense. So I actually like this Chelsea kit.
Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe if they made the stripe a little thinner, it would have been better, but it's not the worst Chelsea kit they've had.
That part is true. It's not the worst Chelsea kit they've had, but I don't know about you guys, but I keep seeing it, and I think Juve's orange, except it's in blue. It's just very similar to that, in my opinion, in terms of the design. But the yellow makes them stand out, I guess. But I don't know. I do like the green. I've been a fan of the green kits for a lot of teams this year. So
I just had a friend text me say only 4 minutes have passed and this game is already wild. So I think we're in for an exciting game today.
And it's great because like everyone's just running, everyone's just moving. Like you're not seeing anyone stationary or holding like someone in front of the defender, just trying to hope for pick up a gap or something. But no, like
you nailed it right there. You nailed it. No one is stopping, and that was that was my biggest concern, is that sometimes you get these complacent players who end up just sitting back waiting for things to happen. It doesn't look like either of these teams came today waiting for things to happen. They both want to make things happen, which is going to be key.
And I will say, I think in the women's side, you see less of the sitting back because I don't know. I am probably a little bit biased to this, but I find in the women's side, you see less of them just sitting and waiting. They attack the game. They come to the game because I think you're kind of forced to be like workhorses in the women's side. If you're going to challenge any of those top place teams, maybe you see a Lyon or something sitting back, but in a Champions League final, never. Everybody's going to come out to play.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're going to get your goal and you're going to keep going. Whereas, if this is Jose Mourinho, what are we going to see? One goal and I'm going to sit back for 90 minutes of the game hoping for the best. But this is completely the opposite, like you said, for the women's and men's side. And I think that's what makes this exciting.
Well, you got quite a high press going for both sides. So
very high.
See how long that's going to last.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I think that'll be the key, honestly, for me, is that if one of these teams can keep the press going the whole game, they're the team that's going to be able to come away with the victory on this one.
So it's going to be who's got the legs then.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Do we know if the final gives you 5 substitutions, or are we still at 3 for the women's game?
I'm not positive. Let me see if I can find some information.
I'm just curious. Just curious in the sense that if you're playing the press that long, you're going to need fresh legs to come in 60, 65 minutes into a game. And that's where I'm hoping it's Jessie Fleming, but
which that would be perfect
Jessie,
for her.
Yes.
Yeah, Jessie, that's what her game is. She's got the legs to carry out a full 90-minute game. So if you're throwing her in 60 minutes or 45 minutes or something, she's going to carry you through to the end. So
no. I know my stream was a little behind. Any goals? Did I miss anything?
No, you're okay. Chelsea's on the rush right now, but good defending there by Barca. Just cleared it.
Okay. I was at a corner kick, and I don't think that happened live.
No. You're slightly behind. I think I might be even behind Paige, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think you guys are both behind me.
I don't think I'm as far behind though.
No. I'm at 9 minutes 25 seconds.
Yeah, I'm literally 3 seconds behind you then. So
perfect.
Okay, so I'm a solid 30 seconds behind.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted, Irfan.
Just keep me posted if there's a goal.
If there's a goal, I feel like you'll see it on our reactions more than needing us to say.
Yeah, but like, what happened? Is that a card? No, it's a goal. Okay, sorry.
Golazo.
But if you notice one thing about both teams, the minute they have the ball in the opposition's half, they are trying to keep them pressed inside their own half. That's something I haven't seen a lot of teams do effectively, and I think both teams, kudos to them this year. I think that's how they've been playing, and it's been working. What do you make of Chelsea's playing style so far, Nick?
I mean, they're playing from behind, so they're trying to force the game a little bit, which is not the worst thing to do, especially early in a game. You wouldn't ideally you're not playing from behind in the first 10 minutes to force you to have to play on the front foot, but they're a team that can play on the front foot without being concerned about the defensive play, because that's how they've played all season. They're good at playing the high press. They're good at forcing the other team to make mistakes. So it's not the worst thing. Would I be concerned if they're still in this spot with like 30 minutes left? Absolutely. If they have not got a goal with 30 minutes left, you know there's going to be a big concern on every single player on that Chelsea squad.
Mm-hmm. But again, they also have enough quality to maybe squeak something on a minute left in the match. But again, I guess I think I'll pose this question to you, Paige. As a player, while you're playing for your club, if you're chasing the game the way Chelsea might have to chase the game for the rest of it, what happens to your mindset when you're as the game progresses? Do you lose a little bit of hope or a little bit of focus, or what happens?
Well, when you go down this earlier in a game, there's still 89 plus extra minutes to play. So you have to think of it as it's still at that point 0-0, because you're not, it's different if you go down a goal in the 70th minute or the 45th minute versus the first minutes. You can't sustain high pressing 90 minutes. It's just not going to work. So I think for them, the most important thing is about game management at this point. When to press, when to look for those opportunities. Don't let your mindset change. Mm-hmm. Oh, we might see a goal here.
Oh, great defending.
Penalty.
For who?
That was not a foul. I am sorry. That was not a foul.
I'm catching up.
I will see. What do you think about the women's side doesn't have VAR? Do you think that changes the outcome of these games?
It better. Or sorry, they better get it soon.
Yeah, but I mean, not all the leagues on the men's side have it either.
I know, and I think that's a problem. And I know a lot of people are really, really down on VAR.
That's not a penalty. I just saw it 30 seconds late. That didn't look like a penalty. Anyway, sorry. VAR, yeah, they are down.
The close-ups. She missed it. She just missed the ball.
No, but if you see, she catches her foot a little bit. I don't know.
After, on her follow-through, she catches her foot, though. I don't think that's a foul because she missed the ball. It's not like she stopped her from following through on the ball.
Yeah.
She completely missed it.
I think it's a soft penalty.
It is soft.
That's an understatement.
It's my girl, but I'm agreeing that is not.
Who would have, if they go up 2-0 here?
The game has been officially changed if they go up 2-0.
Oh, it's her follow through. Like, I don't think that's a foul.
No, I don't. I agree. I don't think it is.
Yeah, because the ball's kind of out of play. It's not, she got the ball first at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't know.
For our Twitch followers, if you're watching this, what did you make of that play? Because I think, I hope we have VAR to repeat that, but that looks soft to me. So.
I agree.
Oh, but they have a VAR penalty check. Look at that.
Did they check it?
They're checking it.
I think for the final, they're allowing it. But
they're allowing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, back to your question there about if VAR is part of the game or not, I think it's become a part of the game. It should be part of the game. I mean, the Chelsea goal yesterday in the FA Cup final, he was offside, even if it's by 0.000 point whatever, right? So it's part of the game. You either accept it or give way to referees making mistakes, even though they're still making them with VAR, but at least at least we have technology to say, well, now you're wrong or now you're right, 2-0.
I would not have guessed this.
No.
2-0 in what? The first
14 minutes?
Yeah.
And with that, why don't we talk about our key players of the game? Maybe they'll change the game for Chelsea. So, Nick, I believe who's the first person's key players are going to pop up? It's mine.
Yours, Irfan, yeah.
I picked two solid midfielding players for both sides just because to get that ball over to Jenny or to get that ball over to Mertens for Barcelona, that midfield has to be strong. Especially we talked earlier off air that Barcelona are missing one of their starting defenders through suspension. So Hamraoui is going to be super important to that midfield. And so far we've seen in the first 14, 15, 16 minutes, wherever we are, that she's first on the ball. She's making that first pass out of the defensive zone for Barcelona, and then that transitions on. Same thing with Sue there. Number 10 for Chelsea. Again, same thing. Massive influence in that midfield. She is, I wish stats, and I think we've been complaining about this. You look at the screen there, there's not much stats on either of these players, but takeaways are huge in the game. Winning headers are huge in the game. So we need that stat. I don't know how we're going to get it, but we need stats like that in the women's game, which we'll talk about it at our next episode, probably. Paige. Yeah, we'll talk about it there. But two very important cogs to the midfields. If they don't have the ball, if they're unable to win the ball in the midfield and get it to their strikers, it becomes difficult to get a goal. And that's why I have two maybe less common players to pick as your key players, but these are my two players.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Irfan. I think those are two players that we're going to be seeing a lot of in this game. I won't say saying because we're not talking about the game play by play, but we're gonna hear a lot about them on our broadcasts, and it's gonna be good to watch the matchup between the two of them.
Sure. I think Paige, you're up with your key players. Excuse me.
My key players, yeah. So for there it is. Yeah, so I picked Kirby for Chelsea. I think she's a playmaker. I mean, look at her stats right there. She distributes super well. She's always collecting balls. And then we got our girl Jenny for Barca. I'm surprised you didn't pick her. I'm super surprised.
He had to have one that wasn't a homer pick. So
that's me all the time. I always pick the randomest things. You'll learn that as we do more episodes together. I pick off the board.
Yeah, but no, I think Jenny is also a playmaker. I think it's going to come down to, I mean, this is not the game we expected 2-0 in the first 15 minutes, but like we said, it's going to come down to like a counterattack or a transition or something like that. And I think both these players have the abilities to do that and to create influence on the game. And I think that's the biggest thing for me.
And they're both leading in top goal scorers. So like, are we going to see either of them pull away or a joint share custody of the goal scorer trophy? But that's also something to watch out for.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. So we'll see.
I agree with everything that you guys both said. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah. You know what I really appreciate about both these players is their level of not making stupid fouls. Both of them are so smart on the ball and so smart off the ball. And obviously, Kirby has a yellow card, but sometimes
but we don't know what the incident was.
Yeah. But like you see how influential these two players are in the fact that they're on the pitch and they're not picking up cards or useless fouls or being smart. I think that's super important for both clubs.
For sure.
Yep, I agree.
Let's move on to Nick's key players.
Yep. So my key players, I went matchup, and I went with the striker from Chelsea versus the defender of Barca. Pernille Harder, as I mentioned it before, she's one of my favorites. And again, it's probably super biased because of talking to Kieran a little bit too much. Irfan, I'm not wrong on that.
No.
But she's just so good, and she finds the space in behind so easily, as there's an offside, and that wasn't Pernille, though. I want to point that out. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Harder who was offside.
No, it was Kerr.
Well, the 2020 Player of the Year, right? So
yeah,
she's fantastic. Fantastic.
So good, but I think this matchup is going to be key. I don't know if they're necessarily key players themselves by themselves, but the matchup itself will be super key for how this game turns out. Although now it's kind of a different game than I thought it was before. So yeah, if Leon can hold Harder to limited access to the ball, that's going to be a huge win for Barca right away. And then you take out one of the best players in the world almost immediately.
Super important.
And I think you're right too in saying that Leon, I always say her name right, is a key player because she's missing her defensive partner there that she normally plays with. Mm-hmm. Right. So I think she's going to be key in that defense.
For sure.
Got to yell at your players in front of you to tell them where to be and what to do. Right.
And she's on the Spanish national team too. So she's quality.
Yeah, exactly. She's quality. Oh my goodness. Barca are just picking them apart.
No.
What? I'm 30 seconds. Hold on.
Picking them apart.
What is going on here?
Guys, I'm wait.
Just watch. They're picking them apart, Irfan.
Well,
that was simple.
They just walked through them.
Just
is it Jenny?
Is it Jenny?
No, it's not.
It's not Jenny.
Holy. Delayed reaction.
Yeah.
Not
good.
I don't even know what to say.
But if you've seen all the goals, all 3 goals, they've come down from the left side and then cut in. So
if you're Emma Hayes, what do you do now?
You got to bring in another midfielder, I think. I don't know.
Bring in Jesse Flem.
That's where I was thinking. But like, who do you take off? Do you take off? I mean, G hasn't had a good game. Ji Sun-yoon hasn't had a good game with her passes, her ability to move the ball up. And I know I picked her as a key player like 2 seconds ago, but
how could you say that? We're in the 21st minute. She's barely touched the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking of someone to maybe replace and bring on. Do you take off?
Maybe she didn't come out sharp. I mean, if you're not sharp in games like these, like anything can happen in big games. So if you don't come out sharp.
Do they sacrifice a Sam Kerr and go with 2 strikers down the middle and try and take away Pernille Harder's marker and try and split that up that way, because they're going out wide, but then maybe go 4-4-2. I don't know, like a Sir Alex Ferguson sort of 4-4-2 to spread the play out.
4-4-2 is what you mean.
Basically. That's what I'm thinking. Like that's the only way.
3-5-2 or something. Push them high. I don't know.
Well, I don't think they can take a defender out right now. The way Barca's playing, Barca's doesn't look like they're going to sit back even with a 3-0 lead. So
yeah, but if you're going 3-0, do you need to in these games? I mean, it's one game and done. You got to score a goal at this point.
Yeah.
So if you lose 5-0 or if you lose...
I could see them transitioning to a 3 at the back at halftime. I don't think they do it in the first half. Just because I think the way Barca's playing, it doesn't look like they're set just to sit on the 3 goals. They're going to play. They might do that more in the second half, just because at that point you got 3 goals in the second half. You're going to want to sit back a little bit more and conserve the lead.
Right.
Whereas I just don't see it happening before halftime. So if they're going to make an early move, it's not going to be taking a defender off just yet, I don't think. And I don't even know who they would take off and bring on right now. Like, Fleming has the ability to be that off the bench jolt of energy, but is she the one that you want to bring on in the 25th minute? She's usually one that you want to bring on later in a game, right?
Yeah.
But I think at this point it's the finals. I think you try and run her out there and maybe take away space as much as you can. I think that's the problem. They're giving away so much on that left side.
Yeah, and that's the issue. They need to figure out that left side, because 2 out of the 3 goals, or all 3, have come down that left side already.
Yeah. No.
Well, no, the one was a penalty, so it couldn't have come down the left
penalty,
side.
But
that actually came down the right side.
If you look at Chelsea's bench, they've got quite a few attackers on there they could throw in.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like Bethany England on there who you could throw in. But, I mean, do you need to change your offense at this point?
I don't think that's the problem. Yeah. Unless you tell Harder to play as a false 9 and have her drop in a little bit deeper, and then that'll bring the defense to trying to spread out that space for Kerr and Kirby the way, they recently did against Arsenal.
Well, she's doing that. She's been playing lower.
She has, but
right, like she's not the top player.
Yeah, but maybe is it the distribution? Is distribution the problem versus like they not being able to find her?
Maybe.
I think it comes down to the midfield of Barca the way they're playing right now, because they're playing G and all of them really, really tight. Right. And I don't know if they're used to that in the English league and all the games that they've played up to this point. No one's played them this tight.
No, because they dominate. They dominate the midfield.
Exactly. So they're not used to having the pressure right on them and forcing them to play the ball right away. Like, G has given up the ball multiple times because there's been a player right on her and she hasn't had time to really turn and make a play.
So, yeah, I mean, to me, they're trying to narrow out Chelsea, and then on the counter or on a dispossession, try and stretch them out, eh?
Yeah.
Sort of what I'm seeing, but...
Well, you nailed it, so...
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting... We still have so long left in this game.
Time.
There's still so much time. There's 65 minutes left.
It's been wild. It's the game we were asking for.
Not what we expected, though.
Not what we expected, but it's the game we asked for.
Hey, we got to give Kyle credit, though. We got to give Kyle credit from Garage Door Sports. Our buddy there, Irfan. He said, if you're going to pick somebody, the safe pick is Chelsea. The sexy, flashy pick. Is Barca. His sexy, flashy pick is working so far.
Who picked Barca?
You're
picked
right.
Barca.
I know, but I have to give the sexy, flashy comment to that.
Yeah, Kyle did say that. I agree.
No, you've gotten. I think both of you've been on that track. I think I was playing it safe, to be honest with you, because it's just more FAWSL games and what we see Chelsea usually do. But this is far from their normal, far from it.
Oh, 100%. And the fact that it's early, like I expected a goal or two early. I did not expect a team to be down 3-0 before the 20th minute. Like that is not something that I came into this game expecting.
And now Barcelona's going to start doing their passing game, where they're just going to try and run out the other team and just not let them touch the ball. And that frustrates me when Barcelona in general does that.
I'd love to see what the possession stat is currently.
Well, it's 53% Chelsea, and then 47. Yeah, Barcelona. Well, I'm also 30 seconds behind, but that's where that was the stat. Which
I missed it. Yeah.
But I think what it is especially the last little bit, Chelsea's just been in their own zone a little bit, or like lower end of the midfield, and that's when they've had it. And then
it's funny, they actually both have 5 shots. The difference is that 3 of the 5 shots for Barca have hit the target, where Chelsea has not hit the net yet.
No, and they had their chances, right? There was a Pena Harder chance. She got some space and just couldn't hit the target on that one. So obviously you convert those, this game's completely different.
Yeah. And it's actually the opposite, Irfan. It's now 55% Barca.
Okay, so the stats changed in the last couple seconds, of course.
Yeah. And look how much space they have. Like the
defense is just backing up.
Yeah.
But the fact that even the Barcelona defenders are able to, like, I'm going to do this PS4, PS5 version, but they're able to lob the ball across the other side. And do it so nonchalantly. But who knows? We might not have full soccer listeners. I'm helping out.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, they're able to just lob the ball. So they've got time, they've got space.
They're switching the play, they're switching it back. Like this is a marks of a very good side. Not that, we didn't think they were a very good side, but they're showing their class.
Irfan, they're in the Champions League final. I believe that they're a good side.
I'm just saying.
And they beat out PSG and Lyon were kind of favorites at this point. So
they did. Did.
It's wild.
Hey.
Oh, do you want to talk about the road to how both teams got here while we have a little bit of time, Irfan?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, pull up that if you don't mind, Nick.
Yep, 1 second. Here we go.
Yeah, wow. By the way, everyone, graphics done by Nick. Fantastic job, buddy. They look great. I mean, I had a basic idea and you took it and ran with it, and I'm so happy about it. I
cheered them along the whole time.
Hey, your input was fantastic. So
they look great, really.
If anyone's listening and you're looking for graphics, our buddy Nick McVicar
graphics, very basic graphics.
But the thing is, basic is clean, and that's what you want.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, look at those paths. Yeah, you're right. Chelsea had to play 2 German sides. 2 very good German sides, 1 Spanish side and 1 Portuguese side. They didn't get Lyon this year, so. But what do you make of their path, Paige?
Well, I think they both equally had. I mean, Barca's playing Man City, and you have Chelsea playing Wolfsburg, who prior to Lyon has won Champions League. So. I think they're both quite difficult. The PSG games were super exciting for Barca, if you watched any of those games. And I mean, Bayern Munich's a great side as well. They've just acquired actually quite a few new players. So next season, I think they're really trying to strengthen, and it could potentially be for Champions League and for big tournaments like that. It was interesting to see Lyon go out so early. I wonder if they didn't have so many COVID issues, if they were maybe a stronger side, or if that was just kind of how they were this season. Because we've seen them, and we've talked about this before, them not being as great as they've normally been this season. Mm-hmm. But I think both teams have had equal difficulties getting to where they are, and I think they both deserve to be there.
Sure. very much, very much on point with that one. And a little bit more on Lyon. They just have not looked great, even in your league, and even in the women's division
I
in
agree.
France. They
Hmm.
just obviously they're smoking teams that they should be winning against, but they just haven't looked comfortable even when they're winning big games. But maybe it's a one-off. They've changed their coach. They've changed a couple of their players have left the
Well,
club.
next season they're gonna look like a totally different team because a lot of their players are going to the NWSL, and they just lost a midfielder to Bayern. So it'll be interesting how they look next season.
It's time for the powerhouse to kind of switch in the, I guess, the powers of Europe, or
Right.
maybe they won't be as bad. They won't be that bad. I don't think they'll be poor. They still are very good, but maybe we won't be seeing them, as
I'm excited
consistently.
to see PSG be a dominant team again, and it's not always Lyon. Like PSG is fighting in there as well, and I mean even in my league, you've got Bordeaux fighting in there too. They just qualified for Champions League next season, so we'll see how they turn out as well.
Do you think PSG need to replace Formiga in that midfield? I know she's leaving at the end of this year, and huge part of that roster. Are PSG a piece away from maybe being a finalist and actually getting over the hump and winning this?
Yeah, I think so. I think if they can bring in a key midfielder, like you said, they're losing Formiga, so that's going to be a huge hole in there. But they also have a lot of up and coming players, and I'm sure they're on the lookout already. They've got so much money, so much experience to throw into players. So
keyword
right.
money.
Right.
Nick, as a fan, when you watch these games, what do you make of the competitive level? I know you said a little bit about that earlier, but this is the right sport to put the money into, no?
Well, yeah, but you and me have been talking about that for years, Irfan, that they need more money in women's sports in general, not even just women's soccer. Women's sports in general need more support. So we're seeing it slowly but surely happening. It's not at the scale that it needs to be, but we're getting there, and I think eventually we're going to get to a point where it will be equal. We're just not there yet, and it's frustrating for someone who is a fan of women's sports and good women's sports. Like let's not forget. I've said this many times that I'm pretty sure women's sports is a smarter version of the men's game because they don't want to go 100 million miles an hour. They play it a lot smarter than what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
yeah, I agree. And as a player of women's sports, I'm fully on board with the investment. So
agreed. I mean, this was something we've talked about it on Touchline Thoughts, but also the differences between facilities is it's massive. It's huge, right? Like, I mean, Paige, you told us the story where you look at the facilities that your organization has, or even the Lyon side has, versus what the men's side has. And we also saw it in the NC2A tournament with the women's players having to tweet things out and show videos of how the discrepancy between it. Like, I know I keep asking you this, but what's it going to take to really, really change this up? And if you're listening, please comment on it. Sorry.
Yeah. No, let us know what you think. But I think you're starting to see the shift. You're starting to see a lot of other athletes invest in women's soccer specifically and women's basketball. And so I think it takes those kind of celebrity personnel to put it out there and say, look, I'm investing in this because I think it's important. And there you see, other celebrities buying clubs, buying women's clubs, investing money in there. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down. Oof, that was sorry, just watching the game. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to investment. But we just saw, I think it was Sky Sports or someone just invested into the women's Super League. And so it's just little things like that, throwing the money in there, and they're going to get the recognition, and you'll see the fans come. Like, you put them there and the fans will come. So,
yeah. I mean, hey, if it's on TV or we have access to it, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
Right?
And look at the NWSL is doing their tournament right now. They're allowing fans into stadiums now in the US and some games in England as well. But you see the fans show up, you see the TV, you see the subscription, you see all those things. So just give them the opportunity, give them the platform, and see what happens.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna give it to the subpar games in La Liga, for example, which they're not subpar, I'm just saying it, trying to compare. But you can give Some of them are. But,
No way!
Oh my god.
as usual, I am a tube light, but it's also because is it four boys and girls?
It is 4-0, 35th minute into the game. Who predicted that? No one.
Wow.
Guys, I can't.
You know what we're gonna
Wow.
do?
Emma Hayes is probably freaking out.
Oh my god, she's freaking out. But again, it's coming down the left side.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really call it down the left side. It was a ball from the right that split the defense to the left side. Like I
but
wouldn't
then the
call
left
that
side
a play
cut it.
build up from the left side.
But the cut happened from the left. That's what I'm gonna.
Yeah, Mertens beat the defender.
Oh my goodness.
But I would not say that was a build up down the left side like the other two goals that came.
No. But like it's still.
But I mean, she's beaten this player every single time. Do you take your right back out?
She needs to be pulled.
Yeah.
At that point, that's 3 goals that are all at her expense.
Jeez. And you know what? Jenny hasn't scored yet, so maybe we'll hold up for another. I don't know.
She's in all honesty, she really hasn't been part of the play.
No, not at all.
Like
they're so
like, obviously she's been involved a little bit, but like
they're
all
so
the
good they don't need her right now.
But the thing is, they're so
out of their minds right now.
They're so focused on trying to take her out of the game that they're leaving Mertens just.
Well,
no,
she's just beating the defender.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at her, I don't think she was 2017 player of the year. I don't think she's been as good as she was that year. And, you know, you can't underestimate her, but I mean, she's been unreal this game. She's just cutting girls up. I don't think she's had a great season, but I think this game she's been outstanding.
I mean, I think we're underrating her a little bit. And the only reason I say that is because if you look at her stats in the Champions League run, she's played in 7 matches and has 5 goals. It's not like Mertens is like slacking off this year. She's played fantastic. And if you look in other competitions all time, she's got 10 goals total in Champions League. 5 of them are from this year.
Right.
Like that tells you all you need to know right then and there is that she's been so good this season. She's doubled her total goals in all of the other Champions Leagues, and she's played 22 less games.
Right.
That's incredible to me. And we didn't even call her as a key player. We haven't really talked about her. We talked about Hermoso and a few of the other Barca players. It's Mertens who is making the difference.
Well, Mertens was huge last game as well, is what got them into the final when they were a little short-staffed. So yeah, I know we overlooked it.
Why do you think we overlooked her as not being a key player?
Because Irfan's in love with Hermosa, that's why.
And I made sure everyone was focused on Hermoso and not.
And I was looking at a very different matchup that hasn't come into play yet.
No, not at all. But you're right. Like Harder has been non-existent in this game.
Yeah, touches the ball very late on. It's probably not good enough, unfortunately. And that's not something you usually associate with Harder's name. It's just.
We got maybe an injury, but we also have our first comment on the Twitch stream. Got to appreciate the people joining us via Twitch. Love the heart, DVA. Appreciate we got a full colored heart, guys. It's fantastic.
Thanks for the love.
Kyle is watching us. He joined the crew just to keep us entertained, and he said Irfan is looking cute as hell. So congratulations, Irfan.
Kyle, what about me?
I didn't even get one, and I've known the guy forever.
Bias. He's biased.
Yeah, but not towards the person he's known longer. This is what I don't understand.
We're just like that. Vardy and I are just like that.
Okay, guys, you're 4-0 down. What do you do?
Yeah, Kyle, what do you do? 4-0 down. What do you think that they need to do? We'll wait for his comment. But they need to do something. Like I think you need to
make changes. I think you need to sub players out.
Who can they bring in on that right side? Who can they bring in on that right side to limit Mertens? Because I don't think you can stop her, but I think you need to limit her at some point.
Well, do you put down a second player? Pull the goal and go with 6 forwards.
That's about right.
Maybe the goalie will score.
Well, I mean, Allison scored today. We might have another goaltender that scores.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Sorry, goalkeeper.
I don't think putting two players out there helps you in any way because that just limits the numbers you have everywhere else. And they need to go forward and make something happen that way. You can't be adding more players near the back end of your line to try to limit one player when you're down 4 goals. Like
Yeah.
they need to find someone who can deal with Mertens. I don't know who. I really don't know. I'm like looking at their lineup, looking at their bench. I don't know who you can bring in. Who is fast enough and smart enough to keep her at bay
I don't know. They've
that
also
isn't
got a
already
lot
on
of
the
forwards
pitch.
on the bench, or like a lot of attacking players.
Yeah,
So
that's I really don't know who you can bring in.
No, I don't think this was on Emma Hayes' radar at all. At all. I don't think she was
I
thinking
think she
this.
was expecting to dominate this game. I think
Yeah.
Chelsea was expecting to dominate this game. So maybe do you think they came out a little bit flat-footed or a little bit too confident?
I honestly, the way that I watched that first little bit, I don't think Chelsea came out flat-footed. I don't think they came out overconfident. What I think is that Barca came out relaxed and they said, "All right, let's see what happens in the first 10 minutes. Let's find our bearings. Let's see what happens. We have no pressure on us. Let's just go play." And what they did is that they managed to pick apart a team because they were so calm, they were collected on the ball, and they just went through. And they've done it multiple times now because the more that this game goes along, the more concerned and the more, I guess, stressed the Chelsea team is going to become, where they're going to leave giant holes. They're going to have problem areas in between their lines. So I'm thinking that this is going to be something that we could see continuously.
Yeah.
What do you say to your team going into the halftime if you're Chelsea?
I was going to say, which team? If I'm Barca,
If
keep
you're
going.
Chelsea, keep going. You guys are doing great. No, if you're Chelsea, what do you say? What do you say to your squad?
I'll let Irfan go first, and then I'll go after.
This is probably the toughest thing you can do is just damage control and try and finish your opportunities. I mean, again, if we go back to Pernille Harder missing that shot or that little bit of space that she did have earlier in the game, if she puts that in, this gives Chelsea a little bit more hope. So get your chances, put it on net. Goalie makes a save, great, but you got a shot on target. That will build your confidence to hit the target. So at that point, is just trying to get that confidence level up and hope for your leaders in that locker room to keep you calm and keep you well ready for the second half. And you go out and try and get a goal or two. Don't lose 4-0. Lose 4-2, 4-3. Make it interesting. Just go have at this point the pressure's off of you because you're just gonna have to try and score. So take that pressure off and go forward.
Yeah, and I think what I would say is like, listen, we can't change what already happened. It's done. It's past. We now need to figure out a way to get back into this game. And whether or not they can even get back into this game is a whole different question, but you have to find a way to try. And I don't know if they have the players. I don't know if they have the ability right now, the way they're playing, to get back into this game. But you got to show something that proves, okay, it wasn't our best day, but we will be back. We will show the world that we are good enough to be here and deserve this spot, despite what we did today.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no, I agree.
You're in the finals. That means you were one of the best, if not the best team to get there. So I think just play the moment. I think, like you said earlier on, that they felt they were the big dogs. They weren't the underdog. And I think that went to their head a little bit. And now it's just let's get away from that. Just try and find our game.
Well, and like you said, I mean, you got to go out and try and score some goals. It doesn't make a difference if you lose 4-0 or 8-0 or 3-0, or 3-1. So, like you said, I think for them now it's a matter of, okay, go and find some sort of joy and pleasure in the game, and you're going to just automatically start to play better. If you're playing under this stress of now we're down 4-0, we have to score 4 goals, you're not going to score 4 goals. It's not going to happen.
No, 100%. You're right there. And I mean, I hearken it back to some games that like me and your brother played growing up. There was a game that we were down 5-1 at halftime. And we just looked at each other like, what just happened? We ended up winning the second half 5-1. So it was a tie game at the end of the day. But it was just one of those, like, you just have to say, okay, we can't do anything about what just happened.
Right.
Let's reset, let's refocus, and let's go win this half. If we can win this half, then at least we did something right.
Right, exactly. And I'm sure my brother is going to tell me he scored all 5 goals or something stupid like that.
I know he had 2. But he got moved up to striker partway through the game, which he never played for our team. It was really
never.
It was an exhibition game too, and we were really confused. But he got moved up to striker and he scored 2 goals and then got moved immediately back to midfield, and like he was like, well, just let him go get the hat trick. What are we doing?
Just keep going, Brian. Just go for a run.
So yeah, then that was an interesting game for sure. We had a few.
I mean, we could see it here. I mean, Chelsea's quality enough that if they're on their game, they could easily pop 4 goals away.
Yeah. We are now in extra time.
They're on their game. Yeah, we're in extra time. I don't know about you, but we're in extra time.
Yeah, we're there. You're not Irfan, but we're there.
This is why I didn't say anything.
Oh, that was not a good free kick.
No.
Sorry.
Well, and this is the problem. They've got to be taking these opportunities, because they're not going to get 100 of these opportunities in the game. If they score this goal, it's a different game.
Yeah, but
coming into half, now you have more momentum.
Yeah, and that's just too easy though. Like, you can't be just shooting it where the goalie's standing. Like, she set up the wall that way. You need to go over the wall in that situation, because there's no hope that you're beating her on that side. The keepers are just too good in this game to allow a goal from that distance off a free kick when they get to set up their wall and be comfortable where they are. Like, that's just not going to happen. And either you have to just chip it over the top of the wall for someone to run onto and get the header, or you need to strike it over the top of the wall. And G just didn't feel comfortable doing either of those things.
No, not at all. Hey, if you can get Barca hemmed in their own end, and even if you don't end up winning this game, but at least pick up your positives, because that should be a motivator for next year. They're good enough to do it.
They are, but they need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got to show some grit right now. Get back into this game. And you can see, I mean, they just showed a picture of Sam Kerr there shaking her head, you know. I think that kind of shows the oh, here we go, into half.
Yeah, that's half right there.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm catching up.
Irfan's not at half yet. But we're going to take a halftime break.
Without me, that's okay.
Wild first half. Let me.
So, Irfan, what's your thoughts on the first half there, my friend?
Well, let it finish first. No. I will say the highlight. Not only is it 4-0, but I've actually enjoyed doing this with the two of you. I think it's been fun just talking footy. That's been my highlight, because I get to spend Sunday talking about soccer, so I appreciate that. But about the game, did not see this coming. I thought it'd be like 1-1 sort of thing where you're trading chances, but you're not like blowing each other away, and Barca just sort of run away with this. They've run away with this. I was trying to be nice.
Kind of completely run away with this is what I would say.
Oh man, that's 2 straight finals for Chelsea. If they like men and women's, that they're gonna lose if this keeps up. That's just got to the final, but a little sad on that part.
It's not pretty.
Also, for anybody watching, or let us know what your thoughts are on the first half. Send us some comments.
Yeah, we'll get you in for sure. Let us know what you think of the game so far. We're monitoring the chat continuously, so.
Yeah.
And now we got a halftime to talk it through. So.
Yeah, we do. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a quick break, get a water break, get a pee break. We will be right back after this. Good job. I'm still...
Hey guys, it's producer Jake here from Betting House, the Garage Door Sports Network's ultimate degenerate gambling podcast. Catch our episodes weekly on Apple, Spotify, and Google as we bring you banter, laughter, and of course picks for all sorts of games throughout the week. Give us a follow on our socials at Betting House Pod, where you can catch all our bets each week, as well as some bonus content. Remember to always gamble responsibly. Let's get rich.
Hey guys, I'm Gabe Ferraro.
And I'm Logan Lockhart from Between the Uprights on the Garage Door Sports Network.
We cover everything football from NFL, CFL, and all off-season storylines. We make our weekly picks during the season and cover every headline in the off-season.
Check us out on the shows tab at GarageDoorSports.com for our weekly episodes.
We are back from our break. I hope everyone got some fluids, got something to eat, and were able to digest not only their food, but the fact that Barcelona are up 4-0 going into halftime in the Champions League final for the women's game. I didn't see this coming. Did either of you predict a heavy scoreline this early into the match? Nick, we'll start with you.
I didn't predict a heavy scoreline. I predicted an early scoreline, but I was expecting like 1, maybe 2 goals. I was not ready for a 4-goal explosion in the first half from one team, let alone from Barcelona, who I thought was the weaker attacking of the two teams. So we're gonna have to see more from Chelsea moving forward because they haven't done anything. They're not getting the ball up to their attacking players very well, and they're not penetrating in behind the defense. And that's a concern for me because this is a team that lives and dies by their attack. And they have all season. The strength of Chelsea will be their attack. And they're just not there. And Kyle's asking, is it as entertaining as anticipated? Absolutely. But not the way we anticipated, that's for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I would not have guessed for 4 goals from Barca. 4 goals total in the game, maybe, but not for Barca in the first half. So, like you said, it is an exciting game, just not the way we expected it to be.
Irfan, what about you? What did you think?
If I cut off, I apologize. It's my internet, but I did not see this coming. I obviously said I picked Chelsea to really pull out and win this game, and as much as I wanted to see Barcelona, but they are the sexy pick, and they're playing attractive football. You know, they're fun. And this is not something you say in a lot of finals. So a lot of finals are like, well, I don't want to give away too much space, and Chelsea's just like, here's some space for you. We're gonna give it to you, and then you gave it to the wrong players, and kudos to Barcelona for really doing it. And I'm just scrolling through Twitter while I do this, and a friend of the show, Shireen Ahmed, she I hope she doesn't get mad at me sharing a tweet on air, but it just says, this Barcelona team has been practicing creating this opportunity for themselves. They get so little attention in European football media and a micro percentage of resources afforded to the men's side, like compared to the men's side. So like, well, the fact that they've built this culture at this women's game, at this women's team, especially if you go back to 3-4 years ago when they were in the finals, they've come a long way.
Yeah.
And that's because they've brought in players that understand what it takes to win in a Barcelona uniform. And I mean, that works for every team, but they're just superb today, and they've blown my expectations out of the water. And I mean, good for them for sure.
Yeah, and now
I think.
Go ahead, Paige. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I think we all pinned them as the underdog, and they've clearly come out and showed us that we were wrong. So.
And I don't think pinning them as the underdog was necessarily the wrong decision either. Like, yes, they had to go through PSG to get here, but Chelsea looked the better side all season.
For sure. For sure. But I think you see Barca have just stepped up and run with it. So yeah, they were maybe the underdog coming in, but they definitely showed that they've got a big bite with them. So,
and that's exactly it. And I want to ask you, Paige, as a defender, you've watched this match, and what you're seeing is a huge gap between the defensive line and the midfield three for Chelsea. As a player, how much does that frustrate you, especially a defender, when you see such a wide gap between the two lines?
Well, this is something that you work on a lot. Oh, we can see Jessie warming up here. Hopefully they get to throw her in. But this is something you work on a lot, is closing those gaps, closing those lines. And this is, in a game like this is when you need your captain or someone who's the captain in the defensive line to say, these gaps are too big. Like, we need to change this. We need to push it up. And I hope that's what they're saying coming into halftime, because like I said, this is something you work on all the time in training, is closing that gap, making sure there's no spaces so that 9 can just come through and pick up the ball. So it is frustrating as a defender to see this, because you know how hard they work on that, and for that to not be working, it's letting them down right now.
And I'm gonna pick on Kieran. One of his tweets was just fantastic, because we now have to look, what are they going to do? How are they going to change going forward? He wrote this about 5 minutes ago, and this is Kieran Doyle Davis. If you want to follow him, great follow on Twitter. Huge soccer fan, covers everything, but is a huge Chelsea supporter too, and knows this team inside and out. He says to drop Ingle into a back three, Cuthbert on for G, Guro for Carter. Just open the doors up, super direct, press and counter press everything. You might lose 6-0, but it gives you a shot, if anything.
Yeah, and that's
why
fair.
not?
Yeah.
Why not at this point? Why not overload and see if it's going to work?
I think throwing Cuthbert in would be a great idea, because she's such a spicy little player, like she's going to give you something a little bit different, a little edge. So I think throwing her in might be a good shot. And I mean, I mentioned in the first half, maybe going to 3 at the back, and I agree, just throw everything at the game, throw the kitchen sink at it, see what you can do. Like you said, you lose 6-0, it doesn't make a difference. You've lost, so you may as well give it your best shot. So I totally agree.
I got a question from a former guest of the show, Matt Fody. He's sitting getting his vaccine, but he also wanted to chime in with us. So he asked, where does this Barcelona women's team rank all time? And is their crazy success in Liga down to failures of other clubs, or is it just sheer dominance? Maybe Nick, you can answer that first.
I think it's hard to say all time, this Barca squad, because this isn't a team that has been dominant for multiple years. This is the first year that they're back to being dominant, I would say. Like, as we said, Leon has won the last 5 Champions Leagues, or 6, 5.
5.
Yeah,
last
okay.
5.
And that is a team that I would say ranks among the top all time for women's teams. This is a Barca team that we had coming into this game as an underdog. Let's not forget this. This isn't the dominant team that some people expected them to be. But they're having a great year. They're having a dominant year. And yes, you can attribute some of their success in La Liga to other teams being poor, but you have to give them full credit. This is a team that is ready to go and ready to play.
Do you think that this Barcelona team, Paige, this question is for you, it's very similar to the way PSG in the men's side was walking over clubs in the French side, and then were able to be successful in the European stage? Is that a similarity that we're seeing between the dominance of this club? That's the only comparison I can think of.
Right. I mean, you could compare it to that, but I mean, you see it in the Italian league too on the women's side. You see Juve running through teams, but they can't necessarily compete at the European level. They were out pretty early in Champions League and things like that. So yeah, I think you could compare it to that PSG side, but I think they're a little grittier. I think they're just coming in to prove themselves, and we haven't seen them in a final in a long time. We haven't seen them lift a trophy at the world level in quite a while. So I think they've got a point to prove, and I think they're showing that, unlike, Juve or someone else like that on the women's side, that they can compete at these levels. So, I mean, kudos to them. I think they're doing great, and I'm proud. I'm a proud mom.
Did we get any of the changes? Did either team make any subs at half? I haven't seen
Yeah,
anything,
so Chelsea just made one now. They
Yeah.
took out number 11 and put in number 8, and I missed their names, but I just saw the jerseys.
So Loopholes is out
Yes, and they put number 8 in.
and Wrighton is in. So
Yes,
Guro
thank
is
you.
in.
Yep.
Yes.
So they got one of the ones that Kieran wanted, but everything else is staying so far. How long do you think until we see a player like Fleming or Cuthbert come on, Paige?
That's tough to say. I mean, I think Emma Hayes is gonna give this a go and see if this player can make a difference. And if something doesn't happen, she's got to make quick decisions because there's only 45 minutes left in this game to get 4 goals at least to even it out. So she's got to make a decision within the first 10 minutes of this half, I think, if she's going to see a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Just saw one of the most ridiculous start-offs I've ever seen in professional soccer, but started 4 on the right side and just said, go, passed it back to the defender, sent it forward. I've never seen that before.
It happens quite a lot in the women's game. When I was in Bari, we had a couple fast forwards, and that was the thing at the kickoff.
Right, and I get that. I understand having like 1 or 2. They had 4 that they just sent. It's like, that's dangerous.
I don't know.
That's a little dangerous in my head.
So
Irfan hasn't seen it yet still.
No, I saw the kickoff. It's just my internet is now it's telling me to chill.
So going into second half, I'm just looking at their stats from the first half here. Possession's pretty even. Passes, Barca has a little bit more, but pass accuracy, all these things fouls are exactly the same. So what's Barca doing to make a difference that they've got 4 goals?
It's the key
other
passes.
Than putting it on
It's the
net,
key passes. They're making those key passes into open space and allowing Mertens to go one-on-one. Because we've mentioned all 3 of the goals that were from run of play came down that left side.
Well, and you've got shots right now are 7 to 9. Well, Chelsea's got 9, Barca's got 7. Barca's got 4 on target, Chelsea's got 3. So, I mean, looking at shots alone, like you could say that the attacks are pretty even, and maybe Barca's just finishing their opportunities, and Chelsea's not.
See, my thing with shots is this is one that I have this conversation continuously with people, is that the shot stat is not indicative of run of play. The shots on target stat is usually more indicative of run of play, because shots, anything directed sort of in the general area of the goal is a shot, which means that someone could shoot from 35 yards out and be 35 yards wide, and it would count as a shot. That's not a real indicator of a team pressing forward. So I find that if you're looking at that, you have to look at shots on target to have a better indication of how a team is doing offensively.
But even there, it's 4-3 for Barca.
No, I agree. I'm just saying
they got on target went in the net.
Yeah, that's the difference. Is that they're finishing better. And we're getting a couple corners early from Chelsea though, so that's a good sign for coming out of halftime.
It means they're pushing forward. They're looking to capitalize, press hard.
So how early until the keeper goes in the box for a header? How early into the pack?
We'll see.
Well, we said throw everything. You might as well.
Are we going to prop bet this? Kyle, did you prop bet any of this?
Oh, why? Oh my goodness.
Okay, so you give the other soft penalty, but you don't give this?
I wasn't calling it a penalty. That's more of a penalty, though. She went through her back.
Then the first one. Yeah, then the first one. I agree.
The other one wasn't a penalty, though.
Yeah, but that's what I agree. Like, that's what I'm saying. So she calls the first one super soft, but she doesn't call this one?
Oh, that's bad.
Not that either of them are penalties, but...
That one is a penalty. She went through her back. It's still a soft penalty, but it's a penalty.
More so than the other one.
But that's a foul. Here's what I really get frustrated with. If it's a foul anywhere else on the field, it's a foul in the box, which means it's a penalty. Yeah. So if a player does that, Paige, that's a foul, right? If someone goes through back, it's a foul.
The ref is going to call it in the middle of the field, but they don't want to make that decision to call it as a penalty.
I get so frustrated with that. I hated it as a kid. I hated it growing up. I hate it at the provincial level. I hate it at the national level. It pisses me off, and yet it happens every game. So
I just saw it. Obviously, I'm late, but was the ball in the box offside? Is that why they brought
No,
it down?
because
Or,
she,
but
she
they gave,
just did she just did the straight foul call, not the offside one.
but the foul went the other way.
Yeah, because she said she dove.
Hmm.
I think the first one was more of a dive, if anything.
Well, yeah, because it was it was like her leg was,
Trailing leg.
yeah,
Or not
that
even trailing,
trailing.
like follow through. What am I saying? Oh, brutal. But I don't know why they played that ball back across. Like that first ball into the box that was headed back to the middle. There was actually, I think Harder was further outside of the person who headed it back to the middle. And had she left it, Harder was wide open. It was going to fall to her feet. And she had 10 yards before any Barca player would have been close to her. She could have set up and struck it across the net. And the player got in the way. Oh, that was close.
Do you
Well, you
think
see
that
Chelsea now pressing. Look how hard they've got, what, 2 opportunities now in the first few
And they have
minutes here.
8 players within 10 yards of the box. 8 players within 10 yards of Barca's box. That's way too many, but it's what you have to do down 4-0.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think that everyone's just trying to do too much on the Chelsea side? Because it feels like they're just, even the ball, like they have the ball, they have possession, but it's bobbling. That there's no clear, like a firm ball at their feet, and they're able to move it out. It's just bobbling.
Right. I think they need to try and keep it to build momentum. Like build the momentum, and then those opportunities will come. I think, maybe they are trying to do too much, but they're coming out fighting.
They're giving it, and that's what you want to see. If you're a Chelsea fan, you got to take pride in this first 6-7 minutes of the second half, because they are fighting for this game. They are not rolling over yet.
No, super important. Yeah, this is the start that they wanted, right? Not giving away anything and really pressing down and taking away space. But
Yeah, for sure.
again, you look at that positives and you try and build from it if you're MIAs. You really do.
Yeah, you just got to motivate your team at this point.
Oh, so many blue jerseys going forward.
Oh, they're giving her, as you said.
Oh, that would have been too good.
I'd like to see them get back into this game, though. I would like to see them get a goal just to get in it a little bit, make it. It's been exciting, don't get me wrong, but just to give it a little bit more momentum for Chelsea, because I think they've had a good run up until this point. I don't think they necessarily deserve to lose 4-0. So I would like to see them come back into the game. Maybe not win it, but come back into it.
Just because you want Barca to win, relax.
No, but like I think now that even though it's 4-0, you're seeing Barcelona be a little sloppy off the ball and on the ball as well. They're taking their
Well, that's
time
what
with
happens
things.
when you're getting pressed, and that's what Chelsea should have done early after that first goal. They needed to really press, as opposed to they were doing more of a half press, and that was just not good enough.
No.
Now they're chasing the goalie down when the goalie has the ball.
That was what Barcelona were doing the first half. So I think tale of two halves.
Tale of two halves, and we're seeing a different Chelsea side already. Like, there's no doubt about it. This is not how they played the first half. And Paige, you can attest to this. Like,
Yeah.
that must have been a great team talk, or a very angry
100%.
team talk.
It depends on the personality of the coach, like she's either coming in there screaming, throwing water bottles, or she's going to be calm and composed and say, okay, you know what, this happened and we got to keep going. So it totally depends on the personality of the coach, and she should be smart enough to read the players and understand what they need at that moment. So I think she's a world-class coach. I mean, you've said it before, you think she could coach on the men's side at some point. So I think she has we've seen it. They're coming out playing totally different. So she obviously said the right things.
She doesn't strike me for someone who's going to throw a water bottle at all.
No, I agree.
Yeah. She's more so like, okay, let's try this. And I'm sure the leadership group that's been here before, with Harder, of course, but like the leadership group has probably stepped in and said, all right, you know what, we're going to just save our pride here. And they've come out flying, which is so important in a match like this.
Well, and I think the way the coaches coach on the women's side versus the men's side is completely different. On the women's side, you have to build relationships with players. Females like the relationship. They like knowing that you believe in them and respect them and trust them, so that when you are yelling at them, they know it's coming from a place of, I want you to do better. I want you to be better. Whereas I think on the men's side, it's more you can rah, rah, rah and pump the team up and it's good to go and they're good to go. So I think she's such a great coach and I'm a big fan of hers. I know you're a big fan of hers as well. And
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see her coach on the men's side though.
Of course.
Do you think
Of
that
course.
translates though to the men's side? Like you mentioned that she's good at cultivating those relationships with players and trying to find the best way to communicate. Is that what they need on a men's side right now? And I'm not saying she has the tactics, she has the ability. I'm not denying that. I'm just asking you as someone who has been around both sides, like, do you think that would work?
No, I don't think it would work, especially because she's coming in as a female coaching, now needing the respect of those men's players. I would hope that those players are professional enough to just give that respect, but I don't think
we've seen the opposite be very
right.
true.
Exactly. So I don't think that the same tactic works on the men's side, and I think a lot of coaches don't understand that. And you know, I've had coaches come from the men's side and try that, you know, macho, I'm the leader, and the women don't respond to it. So I can see the opposite where, you know, she's trying to build these relationships with the men and they're like, well, you're soft. I'm not listening to you. Like, I don't care what you have to say. You know, you don't motivate me. So I think you got to be smart enough to realize that it's not going to work for the different genders, and it's not going to work for every team either.
I think that's the biggest thing is that, like, I mean, growing up, I hated the rah-rah macho coach. They used to piss me off. I'm like, why? We are growing men. Like, why are you treating us like you are the head of the greatest thing of all time? We're not Team Canada. We are provincial players in Ontario who are good, but
right.
you can't be trying to prove to us that you're good. We don't care.
See, I have one word for that. Testosterone.
100%.
That's 100% an ego male testosterone thingy. And, you know.
Well, and you see that problem so often on the women's side, and the women's side they're still fighting for respect. They're still fighting for equality. And you need if a male coach is going to come in, or a female coach, whatever, if they're going to come in and just demand respect and you have to listen to everything I say, the women are going to push back and they're going to say, no, we're fighting for equality. We're fighting for these things. And for you just to come in and demand that, it's not going to happen.
No, it's going to regress.
Exactly. And that's why I think it's important for those coaches to build those relationships with those players. And I'm seeing it currently in my team. You know, it's the girls are fighting back because I don't want to be talked to that way. And especially by a man, I don't know, you know? So if you come at them with that aggression and with that mentality and with that coaching philosophy, it's not going to work. And the successful teams on the women's side, that's not the mentality and that's not the coaching philosophy. And I think you see it with both of these teams. Mm-hmm. Check out the body language of both of these coaches. Nobody's kicking and screaming and throwing water balls and running up and down the sidelines. Like, they're very calm. They're very composed. The way they speak to players is very different from the men's side. Yeah. And for me, it's very interesting to watch the coaches and their body language and the success of the teams that they're coaching.
No, sure. The demand level is very different. Very, very different. Mm-hmm. I mean, we see like the most family oriented sort of approach from Klopp as you can get, but we also see the opposite side where he's an absolute jerk. Right. But in the women's,
come on.
That was
sorry.
It's okay. Was it Chelsea?
Yes, it was Chelsea. Chelsea's been pushing hard. They're in the.
It was offside though. I was pretty sure it was offside, but.
Hey, at least they're pushing. They're getting those opportunities. So.
Yeah, it was offside multiple times. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Irfan. That's my fault, buddy.
No. Please, I am way behind. Don't worry. No, I mean, I think what I was just saying is like the demand level is very different. And I mean, you look at the body language of some of the coaches in the women's game, they have a way of speaking to their players, or even when they're down or they're frustrated, there's a way to approach your team and a way to approach the tactics. You're not going to yell at someone and lose that. Like, I mean, when I was getting yelled at playing, you know, hockey, I'd be like, I'm not listening to you because you're treating me like dirt. I'm a human being. I'm not a toy that you can expend just because you want to win a match that really means absolutely nothing at the end of the day. Let's be honest, right?
But I think I've had coaches scream and yell at me that are some of my favorite coaches, but I think it's because they built that relationship with me and with other players that when that happens, I know it's coming from a place I know you can do better. I want you to be better. it's not coming from a place of you suck, I don't care if you're here, you can go sit on the
Right.
bench.
Right.
So I think once that relationship is built, and it's amongst teammates as well, it's amongst, whoever that kind of mentor or leader is on the squad. Once those relationships are built, you can come at them hard, you can be demanding, and they're going to respond positively, versus you don't take the time to build that relationship. They're going to do what you did, and they're just not going to listen and say,
and that's what it was.
F off, whatever.
We literally, a quick little story. We had a coach come into our hockey thing, our select team one year, and he maybe coached us for a practice or two. Comes behind the bench as a new head coach, starts yelling at everybody. We keep losing games because we're not listening to you. And then our old coach comes back, and we actually have a good tournament because he goes, hey, I know you made a mistake. Here's my relationship with you. That was wrong. Let's fix it. And it's like trying to grow with your players rather than just trying to get ahead and walk a million miles ahead of the athletes on your team.
Right, I agree.
And just building on that, like I found that the coaches that were the most successful at every level, no, it didn't matter whether it was soccer for me at the provincial level or house league hockey, it was the ones that came in, demanded respect, but gave the respect too. It wasn't just demanding, because if they demand respect and they don't give it back, that's when there's going to be friction, because you don't have it going both ways. It was the ones who demanded respect because they were in a position of power, which is fine. You're supposed to respect them, but they demanded respect amongst everybody. They wanted you to respect the players standing beside you. They wanted you to respect the parents. They wanted you to respect all the coaching staff. Those were the coaches that had the most success. And I will be 100% honest. Our coaching staff at Oakville, when I played with your brother Paige, was one of the best. We had respect amongst everybody. Your father was one of them. He, to this day, is still one of my favorite coaches. Because
I will tell him that. He'll be happy to hear that.
I think Braden's already told him. But just the way my first practice with the team, because I had been on a rival team for 3 years at this point. My first training session with the team, he pulled me aside and said, just go play your game. Because he knew that I could play with this.
Yeah.
He had no problem with it. And right then and there, I felt comfortable. Even though I hadn't been on the team, the entire squad was back from the year before.
Right.
And they just brought me in, and everyone just accepted me. And that's the difference between a coach who demands respect but doesn't give it, and one who demands respect but gives it straight back.
Well, I think it's also like when my dad or whoever says that to you, you feel wanted. You feel like, okay, I'm supposed to be here. And some coaches create this culture where it's this competition is good. Competition should exist within a team, but competition where you feel important in the squad, even if you're up in the stands, not being rostered. And I think, like you said, you lose that respect when, you may not have gotten all the playing time, but for you to be a new player to come in and the coach pull you aside right away and say, just play your game. Like, you're here for a reason. We want you to be here. So you probably instantly felt relieved, that you can go and enjoy yourself. And I think that makes a huge difference. And like you said, demanding respect, you're not just going to give it to the guy because he's there, show me respect and I'll show you respect. And now in the professional, you're dealing with adults. It's different if you're dealing with 14-year-olds or 13-year-olds.
Exactly.
You're dealing with 35-year-olds. You're dealing with 28-year-olds. You're dealing with
people
adults.
in multiple different age gaps, because they're professionals. They could be 18 playing their first match, or they could be 35 on the last legs of their career.
And some of them have more experience as a player than you do as a coach. So for you to come in, this is your first year of coaching, and you're going to go rah, 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 rah. That player who's been there, who's been playing professionally for years and years and years, is going to say, yeah, okay, this is not going to work,
Yeah.
So
that's huge. I'll
still joke though, because I think your dad allowed me to do that just because I had shut down Braden the year before, one-on-one.
He's probably like, good job. Just do that again.
Just keep doing that. You'll be fine.
Do it for us.
And I think what makes my dad a good coach too is he's very patient. He's very relaxed. And he says the thing he says to you, he says to me every time before I go on a game. He said, just relax, just play your game. Like, you're supposed to be there, So, and I think it helps build confidence. And we're trying to get my dad to come on the show. I asked him the other day. So
I've been bugging Braden to get him on our show for 2 years now, and that just doesn't seem to be happening.
Andy's in high demand, so I'll convince him. I'll convince him to come.
He might need an agent to broker a deal or something.
Coaching tactic sessions with Andy Culver.
Well, we have Through the Coach's Eyes on Touchline. We haven't had that in a while, so maybe hop him on there.
For that segment.
There you
That'd be
go.
awesome.
Please
Yeah.
let me sit in on that. I won't say anything. I'll sit really quiet.
No, we'll invite you to the episode so you can ask questions.
Yeah, because you're a former, player of his, so you probably have more questions than we do.
Oh, biggest question I have for him. How come I didn't get to play forward more? Because the one game he coached, he put me at forward. I scored in the first 10 minutes, and then I never saw forward again for the rest of my Oakville career.
Mark took over after that, so.
Well, Mark was always the head coach, but he missed the game.
Right.
And the
so
one game that your dad coached,
yeah.
he threw me up front for 10, 15 minutes, and it was just like, oh, this is awesome. And then I never saw it again.
He was like, go for a run.
Probably realized if I give him more minutes, then Mark comes back and goes, "Ooh, don't do that. I have other players there."
Yeah.
We won't get into that.
Yeah. But no, you talk about Emma Hayes making it into the men's game. I think of the closest example of Becky Hammon for the San Antonio Spurs over the NBA. She gets that respect and that love from her players. They look up to her very much so. They trust every word that she says because she's earned it and she shows it and she gives it back. So I think Emma Hayes, if anyone's going to break into the men's game as a coach, as a female head coach, I think it's still going to be her. Well,
yeah, nailed
just
it.
kind of tie that, just hopefully tying that back in, just how great she is. So I wouldn't even worry about this result because, it's a final. Anything can happen in a final. But look at the way she preps her team. Look at the way she keeps them calm. Look how calm she is. Any young team up and coming would love a manager like that.
Oh, 100%. And we're seeing a team that isn't at their best. I don't think this is the best Chelsea we could have possibly seen.
I agree.
But they're still fighting. They're still in the game. It's not like, yes, the score is 4-0, but they're not getting blown out. They're not getting run at. No. Like, honestly, Kieran probably said it best. This isn't a 4-0 game. This is probably a 2-0 game. That happens to be 4-0 on the scoreboard. This is a much closer game than the scoreline is going to indicate, and this is very favorable to Barca.
I agree.
They just need a goal. Like, one goal changes the scoreline. One goal makes it look more like the game that it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what I mean. I think Chelsea needs to just build momentum at this point. If they put one away, I bet you the game's going to change. So, I mean, this first couple minutes in this second half has been a little back and forth, but I mean, now they've got a free kick. If they can put this away, watch the momentum shift.
And fans, make sure you let us know what you think about these games. Let us know what you think about Emma Hayes maybe possibly making the transition to coaching on the men's side. Let us know if you have any questions for Paige about being a professional player. Like that's what we're here for. We still have 25 minutes left in this match, so let us know what you think.
Shameless Harder's open there. She's got to put that away.
That's the first big miss from Harder though. Like that one was obvious. That needs to be finished.
Well, and she's got I don't know what Barcelona's defenders are doing there. She doesn't have a mark. She's free.
Well, that's what I was saying on that last chance that we were talking about. Yeah. The one that was the penalty that wasn't a penalty. Like she was wide open on the back post. If she calls off her teammate, she's wide open, has time. She's just not taking that chance.
And Chelsea's pushing people up because they were just 4-on-3 in the back there with Barca pushing. So they're definitely getting high. They're going for their opportunities. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're gonna see some very high blue shirts in the last 25 minutes.
All right, so we've got a couple of minutes gone by in this second half. Do you start making subs if you're Emma Hayes here?
Absolutely. And not necessarily because I think that the team hasn't played well in the second half, but you're down 4-0 with 20 minutes to go. Get players experience in a final. Like, there are some young players on Chelsea that they can get into a final match and give them that kind of experience. And Irfan's laughing. I don't know if he's laughing at me or not, but... Oh, he's muted, too.
Sorry, my sister walked in and I showed her the score and her eyes just went white.
I think that's everybody checking the score for the first time.
Okay. Right?
Yeah, I just think you have to make some subs and give players some opportunities to play.
Also, I want to shout out real quick. The Female Soccer Collective just sent me a message. Check out her Instagram page. She's awesome. She does a lot of interviews and a lot of stuff about that. She said she's watching our live Twitch and she's loving the conversation. Maybe potentially doing a crossover with her would be great.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I'll talk more with her about that. But thanks for the comment. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying the conversation. I know I am. And it's been a good
We
game so far.
appreciate you. That's awesome. Thank you very much.
It looks like Barca's going to make a ton of changes. I've seen 3 or 4 players with their kit on ready to go. So,
do you think this is strategic as a defensive change, or do you think this?
Well, they're bringing on a striker.
But that's what I mean. Do you think it's get players minutes to say they got minutes in a final? Like, what do you think the thought is there?
I'm wondering if they're going to bring off Mertens.
Yeah,
and put on Ashola.
Oh,
Rashoala.
Oh no! I'm sorry. Is it gonna happen?
Okay.
Is
I've done that so
healthy?
many times.
Is Ashola healthy?
Healthy enough to come on because she's standing at half.
Oh, there she is. Okay. See, I'm on freeze. That's okay.
They're getting ready to make changes. Are they making them now? Or they're just taking a really long time to get the ball? Yeah, because they've got 2 coming on. They got Losada, a midfielder, and Hermosa's coming off. Hermoso's coming off.
Yeah, Losada's the actual captain of this Barcelona squad, so hopefully maybe they'll get her that opportunity to
Well, that's what's happening is that they're bringing off Alexia and giving Losada the armband.
So like for like.
See you, Jenny.
Yeah, so that's 2 like for like changes. It doesn't look like they're going to change the tactics by any means. They're not.
There's no need to do it. Yeah. Round of applause for Jenny Hermoso, ladies and gentlemen.
Why?
Because
she really had no play in this game.
Yeah, but she's had a fantastic career. She's doing great. She's captain of the squad. You got to give her some credit.
She's one of my favorites. That's the only reason why.
Irfan's obsessed.
Obsessed is the right word. Thank you, Paige. Well done.
Listen, if Alex Morgan was in this final, I would have done the same thing. Or Martha.
Oh, you're a big Alex Morgan fan.
And Martha, yeah, of course.
I've known that for a long time.
Very much so. I think she's the greatest of all time, and she's not even done.
Morgan or Marta?
I said Morgan, but I also think Martha's one of the greatest of all time.
I'm just checking because you're wrong if it's Morgan. She's not the greatest of all time. I'm sorry. She's one of the greatest of all time, but she's not the greatest of all time.
But I picked her as my... If you're listening to this, we did do a greatest of all time. Please have a listen. Probably will disagree with me, and that's fine. But we made some great choices up there. So
Also, if you're listening to this, we just did an episode today with another soccer mom because Alex Morgan is a soccer mom. So be sure to check out that episode once it's released.
Yes, I'll be dropping it.
Great.
No, great transition. I'll drop it soon. Just waiting for this wonderful game to end, and we'll wrap it up, and then you'll see it.
Yeah, drop it now.
That was a great...
just drop it now.
No, one thing at a time. Come on.
Yeah, my computer's just not gonna like that.
Fair. Yeah, that's a valid point. Yeah, no, we've seen some great women's players, and I mean, it looks like Chelsea's making some substitutions now, and there's Cuthbert coming on.
Yeah, we predicted that. We predicted that sub. Yeah. Oh, Kerr's coming off. Okay.
Which is one that you predicted.
Yeah, I
maybe not for Cuthbert, but it was
right.
No,
2 players, just
earlier.
2 different subs. And then it also looks like, is it England coming on? Or who was the other one that just came on? Yeah, England. So G is off and Kerr is off, and England and Cuthbert have joined the fold. Yeah, but what I was saying was like we've seen some amazing women's players over the years, and like the first one that you think of is obviously Marta, just because of everything that she did and the recognition she got in North America, let alone everywhere else. But you have to.
What? I'm going to make a point on this. I'm a big Marta fan as well. So on my team here, we have a girl who's from Brazil, and she's not a big Marta fan. And I asked her why, and she said she doesn't feel that she's done enough in Brazil for women's football. Like she has not put the resources there. And so I mean, she's from Brazil. She's lived in Brazil her whole life. This is her first year playing in France, and she's 30, 31 now. So it's interesting to see it from a perspective of somebody who's from Brazil, because we see it from the outside being like, oh, Marta's amazing. She's brought so much to the women's game, which I think she has, but you know, we're not in Brazil and we don't experience it directly. So for her to say that, I was really surprised and interested in what her thoughts were about that.
Did she say who is one of her top players then? I mean, they must be someone who's better connected to the community.
Yeah, I didn't ask. I would love to have that conversation with her. Because she, like I said, she's played professionally in Brazil up until this point. So, that's a good question. I'll ask her that next time I talk to her.
Training
Yeah,
ground thoughts. I'm expecting the video camera with you.
just on top right here.
That would be a
GoPro.
great segment. Just have someone hold the
Yeah.
phone, training ground thoughts, and just ask each other questions.
Next time we'll do a mic'd up series too, where we're just
Yes.
running around training all mic'd up.
Yes.
Do either of us need to be in France to help you guys hook up with mics? So you guys got your
No,
phones?
we can figure it out.
Well, there's these. We'll talk later. I have a really good mic that you guys could use. It's beautiful.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
But getting back on the greatest of all time conversation that we were having, I agree with what she said. I don't think Marta's done a whole lot to help build the game in Brazil.
Mhm.
But I don't think she needed necessarily to do a whole lot to build the game because it is Brazil, right? Like if you compare her to maybe like a Christine Sinclair, right, who's obviously grown the game or helped grow the game in Canada.
Yeah.
Christine needed to grow the game in Canada because the game wasn't where it is at in Brazil. Obviously, they need more resources for the women's side. I'm not denying that fact. But the game itself didn't need help growing in Brazil the way it did in Canada with Sinclair.
If you're talking about like the passion and the love of the game, yes,
Yeah.
I think you're correct.
I think that's a very interesting comment though that your teammate made, and I'm not denying that she didn't do enough for the women's game in Brazil, but I just think
I don't know, and like I said, we're not there to experience it firsthand, right? We just see it from a fan's perspective, but she sees it from an actual player's perspective who's a Brazilian and who was playing professionally there. So I thought that was super interesting to hear that.
for sure. So who is your greatest of all time, Paige, though? Like
mine was Marta.
Marta?
Yeah, mine is Marta. And I still think she's paved a way just to bring fans to women's football. Like, she's got flair, she's got style. You saw her in the World Cup, she's got her purple lipstick on. Like, she brings a lot of attention. So she's an amazing player to begin with. But I think on the women's side, you have to think about who also is growing the game. And I think she does do a good job in that.
Especially if you're a young athlete looking to get into the game, you look up to her, one of the most.
She's like Cristiano Ronaldo or like a Pele or somebody who's, flashy and brings the attention. And like you said, that's so important on the women's side.
I would say she's much more like Pele than Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, yes, of course.
Not even because they're both Brazilian, just the way they handled themselves. Like Pele was like the quiet, gentle guy who was just really good at the game. Marta strikes me as the same sort of player. Ronaldo is the loud, boisterous, I am in your face, I am the greatest of all time, bow down to me kind of guy.
So who's the Cristiano Ronaldo of the women's side then?
Morgan.
You wouldn't say Rapinoe?
I would lean towards Megan Rapinoe because of her ability to speak
Rapinoe,
up, though.
maybe.
Yeah, I would have said Abby Wambach if she was still active in terms of her her confidence and her ability to be proud of the way she plays on the pitch. Not saying it's a bad thing, but I think if you're comparing that sort of like boisterous approach, I think Abby Wambach had that covered.
Yeah, I guess I'm changing my answer. I'm going with Rapinoe. That's a good call. That's a good call. I don't know why I didn't think of her first. Yeah. She frustrates me.
Me too. I agree. But she's got
Great
the flair.
player.
She's got the personality. You see her celebrate on the field. You see her do her little bow,
Yeah.
So
great player. Just cannot stand her personality as a player. Like that's why I'm not a big fan of Ronaldo. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time. I have no interest in watching Ronaldo play because he annoys the hell out of me.
That's fair. That's all right.
He's a flopper, but you know what?
He's a flopper.
He's a flopper.
I wouldn't
He's still
even
one of my
call him
favorites.
He's
flopper.
Portuguese. Come on.
Like I wouldn't even call him a flopper. That's not why he bugs me. Like Neymar's a flopper. And that's why I won't watch Neymar play. And that's why I will not watch Neymar play. Refuse. Ronaldo doesn't flop. He doesn't flop as much as Neymar. He's just demanding of everybody, even his teammates.
Yes.
It's like, dude, we know you're great. Just go play the game. I don't care that you are the greatest player in your own head. Prove it. Go do something.
He does.
So I'm assuming you're a Messi fan over being a Ronaldo fan.
I am a Messi fan. I was a Rooney fan up until he started. Up until he started being a bit of a doink on the field, and then he went back to not being a doink, and I was like, perfect.
Right.
We'll deal with that.
There's one play that I always remember when I'm tired on the field. I can't remember who. It was when he was at United, and there was a corner, and he cleared the ball from the corner, and then he took the ball and he was racing down the field and he scored a goal. And I always think about that play whenever I'm exhausted in a game. I'm like, if Rooney could do it, I can do
With
it.
the old AIG kits, right? With the white collar.
Right? Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a good one. That and the
That's
DC
like
United,
the
DC
The
United
DC
play.
United one where he makes the slide tackle.
He's the only one in the half. Like,
Yeah.
If Wayne Rooney at 32, 33 can to make you look slow and you're DC United, that blew my mind. But I think Rooney's always found a way to score big time goals, and I was sad when he left. I didn't think he should have.
No, he needed to go. And that's not any disrespect. I think he needed a new change, a new scenery for himself, not necessarily because of United. Like, he just needed to go somewhere else and get away from United for a little bit.
Okay.
We've been there a long time, so,
Yeah.
Like you said, sometimes you just need a change of scenery, different perspective, different coach, things like that. So, I mean, because he was with Fergie forever. I am excited about that Fergie documentary coming out. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for that.
I saw the trailer. I haven't seen anything else since the trailer, though. Like, I'm kind of concerned.
I'm pretty pumped for that. Ooh, we got a injury here.
You guys want to update me? Mine stopped working. So
yeah, so it's still 4-0, 81st minute. Sorry, let me correct that. It's not Marta. What is it? It's Marta Torrejon is down for Barca, and I think she got stepped on by Ingle, and Ingle immediately turned around and said, "Hey, my bad."
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was a foul though, because it looked like the ball was clear.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if that's necessarily a foul, but a lot of the time when players go down like that, refs blow the whistle. Like, that's their immediate reaction, to blow the whistle without even potentially seeing the tackle. But
trust me, as I was a defender too, Paige, it was frustrating when players used to do that. I'm very happy that I don't have to deal with it anymore.
So are we saying this game's pretty much summed up here?
Yeah, I was kind of going to ask both of you, who's the player of the game for I guess everybody.
You want to go first, Nick?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it has to be Mertens, just because of the way she was able to pick apart that right back of Chelsea, and I can't even think of who the name is of the right back at the moment, and I apologize. I should have that on hand. But she just was able to create so many opportunities from that left side. And
Carter was your right back, sorry.
Oh, was it Hart?
Carter was on the left.
Carter.
Oh, she was on the left?
She was
Charles
on the left.
was on the right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. So they just didn't have enough. She couldn't do anything against Mertens, and Mertens dominated that first half and cut in every opportunity she could and beat the player multiple times and created 3 goal opportunities. And when you can create 3 chances in the first half alone, like, that tells you that you are on your game and ready to go.
Yeah. I will say the first goal they credited as an own goal.
Yeah, well, no, it came off a Chelsea player. I know that. Like, it was struck by the Barca player and was going wide and hit the Chelsea player and bounced in.
Right. Yeah, they credited it as an own goal. So
I get it, but if she's not going down that wing there, you're probably seeing a 1-1 game or a 0-0 game or 1-0 sort of thing.
Absolutely. And we saw a couple more changes there. I just want to update everybody in the 82nd minute. Melanie Serrano and, I'm going to butcher this name, but I'm going to try it anyway. Anna Maria Chernogorchevic? Chernogorchevic? Sure, we'll go with that. Have come on for Torrejon and Wehabi. So Barca have used all 5 subs.
Who was your player of the game?
I think Nick got it. That's who I was thinking, Mertens. But just a solid game for Barcelona. We were expecting solid from both sides. It's just unfortunate that it had to be 4 goals and God knows how long. But Mertens, I mean, if she's not on her game, especially last round as well, Barcelona's not in the final and they're not winning the final. So
sneaky pick, and this might be the one that ends up getting it as well, is Leon, the key player that I had at the beginning of the game.
I was going to say
she's been
solid.
all over her, and not let her have any space on the ball. So good for her. She's done what she needed to do.
Yeah, she's been solid. She's been consistent. But I agree with you both. I would say Martins as well.
They'll always give it to an attacking player.
Yeah, that's normally how it goes. Defenders don't get credit, guys.
That's the thing. Like we brought that up. We'll drop this episode soon, but we did bring it up in our episode about the way players are recognized by coaches and fans, right? And it's mostly the goal scorer who gets the credit because they made that difference there. But
Right. But we'll
listen,
see. We'll see.
I cheer when there's a big defensive play. I play defense. I understand what it takes to get in front of the ball and take it off the head
Do you
to stop him. Yeah, of course.
But I will say, I've had this conversation with girls on my team before, and a big defensive play makes just as much of an impact on the game as scoring a goal does. Because if you make a big sliding tackle and block a shot or block clear a ball or something, that is just as important as scoring the goal. But you don't get the flair, you don't get the glamour, you don't get those kind of things. So I think it's less credited for those reasons, but it's just as important. So I think we need to give defenders a little bit credit.
Well, and the fact that, like, I know we talked about, you said it, Irfan, that usually an attacking player will get player of the game just because, especially in a 4-0 game. But they're 4 goals from 4 different players.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who was the one common denominator amongst 3 of them?
Mertens.
But she didn't, I don't even think she was credited with any assists. So that tells you a lot. Like, if you're not getting points as an attacking player, then are you really having that big of an impact? Whereas Leon, I can legitimately say that Leon has shut down the Chelsea offense.
Yeah.
She has. Maybe 2 plays where Harder got away because of a miscommunication, but that you'll get 1 or 2 every game.
Yeah, but Harder's one of the best strikers in the world.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Of course.
I would love to see their Instat for the games. You guys know Instat, the program?
Mm-hmm.
So
I've heard of it. I've never used it.
Yeah, so all the leagues have, it's called Instats, where they analyze the games, and you can go and look at players and what their Instat ranking and their scores are and stuff. And basically they take every time that you've made an important play, made a tackle, won a tackle, and they give you like a ranking. And I would love to see what their, Barcelona, like players like Martins or Leon, compare those to what their Instat is, because you'll see just how important, like you're saying, Leon is in this game. Even though, Martins is maybe creating more, you'll see that Leon is also, like I said,
numbers
just as
will
important. Yeah, the numbers will show. Yeah.
Is that a tool that we can access? Like anyone can access, or it's just certain people can access?
No, I think you have to pay to access it. That would be the only thing. But
okay.
Which is why I've never used it, Irfan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really interesting. I know a lot of coaches and a lot of teams pay to use it because it's very valuable when you're assessing teams and
right.
players.
I feel like it would have been great for us, and like I know we said we touched upon this, so why don't we do it now? Is the fact that finding stats for a lot of the players today was difficult. I think I was on the second page of Google, and I don't do that anymore. When you're trying to find something, so
even then, there's nothing there.
There's not and any stat that you pulled up, you're like, okay, but this is from 4 years ago, and it's one random stat. Whereas Paige, I know you and I talked about this off air, was the fact that if the guy just ate breakfast on the men's side, we're gonna find out that this is person's diet, and it's like, well, I don't care about the diet, like the impact of these players isn't being shown. And I mean, I don't know how to fix that because I'm not involved as closely to the game. But for you, Paige, like, what takes? I see the money thing. Yes, I know. But
you pay somebody to do it. That is how you get them.
Well, and we're talking about exposure too. As these players get more fans and stuff, they're going to want to know those things. So, you're going to have, I would love to see the stat of how many people are watching this game, for example. But, you have hundreds and thousands of people now watching the women's side. They're going to demand that, these stats and that these things are talked about. And the commentators have to know these stats. And so they're going to have to put them out there. So I think it comes down to exposure. It comes down to viewership. It comes down to all those things, as every problem seems to come down to.
100% it. And it's frustrating because, like, I mean, I've worked games. I've called games for OUA and U Sports. Try finding women's soccer stats on an OUA or a U Sports website. They're awful. And I don't blame U Sports. It's because they didn't put I blame U Sports because they didn't put somebody in a position to get those stats properly, even though they're supposed to. To be fair, it's almost impossible to find good men's stats either.
Right, but it's looked over, and that's the kind of sad part about it. But I mean, we're winding down in this game now. 1 minute plus extra here.
Paige's smile just keeps getting bigger and bigger the closer we get to 90 minutes. She's just ready to go, yes, I was right.
Well, yeah, the full time whistle's gonna happen, and then we'll put a something on Instagram with you with a crown and saying I got it right. It's just letting you know.
Don't ever doubt me, guys. Come on.
And we're gonna get a huge smile from Kyle, I'm sure, with the comment about the sexy pick.
Yeah.
We're gonna call it Big Sexy's Pick of the Week.
Yeah, I love that.
That was his nickname at our work when we worked together, so that's why it's perfect. Oh no!
Oh no! What?
That was close. Barca had 2 up in the box there. They could have put another one away, but
it's a good play still. Like,
it was a good play. It was a good opportunity.
The players are jumping up and down on Barca's
celebrating.
bench.
Oh, it's done. Yeah.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes
of cheering Barca bench
welcome.
Players. That's what it's going to be.
They're just waiting to rush onto the field.
Well deserved for sure. The prep was there. They came up blazing.
How early do the players on the bench know that they have to start going to get ready to for the celebration here, Paige?
I think they're just vibing with it. I think they're just feeling. They know it's coming, and they just put another goal away.
That was offside.
Wow! Oh no!
That was offside.
Yeah, they called it off. She doesn't believe it.
They called the wrong person off. The first one was offside, though.
Let's have another look here.
I think I'm like 5 to 10 seconds behind Paige at this point.
They're both off. They were definitely both offside.
Yeah, the first one here. She's offside by 3 yards.
Yeah, but that was terrible defending as well.
I'm not denying that fact. She wasn't offside, actually. The second one wasn't offside. It was just the first one because she was behind the ball.
But yeah. She's off. It's off. It's offside. It doesn't count.
Regardless, it's offside. But that's a terrible... They called the second one, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I get so frustrated with that.
How would you feel if you go down now 5-0?
I don't think it changes at that point.
No.
Anything more than 2, it doesn't matter.
Oh, Barca, all the girls are down right on the sideline there waiting to rush onto the field.
As they should be.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? They deserve this win. I think they were the better team this game.
Yep.
And they've really fought hard to get here, so I'm happy with this for sure.
Yeah, and I want to give credit to Kieran. He came clean and he said, "Listen, I had a couple things that I want to say about Chelsea, but I underestimated Barca." And I think everyone did.
Guys, there's the game.
Everyone underestimated Barca, and there it is. And Kyle is dun 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 dun.
No, that's awesome. You know what? We said it would be an entertaining game, and I was fully entertained.
I was, yeah.
Second half, not as much, but
not as much. No, it was a little slower, but first half, I thought they came out guns blazing. So
it wasn't a boring final. That's all I ask for. Is it's not boring.
Are we gonna get a boring final on the men's side though?
Yeah,
I'm a little worried about that one.
Yeah,
but to be fair, when English clubs play each other, it's usually not boring. Unless it's United versus Chelsea, because then they bore the hell out of you, or they blow each other out. Like, there's no in between.
The last 2 English sides to face each other, Liverpool, Spurs, that was just a slow.
Yeah, think about those squads.
Hey guys, let's come back to this game. Let's celebrate Barca's victory.
Sorry. I
was waiting for the trophy celebration to really celebrate. That's why I was trying to push the conversation so we could come back.
No, you got to soak it in. You got to feel like you're there. Come on.
We're about as far as we could be. You're closer.
I am. This is true. But no, like you guys said, let's hope for an exciting men's side too.
Yes.
That's all you're gonna say. Just yes.
Gosh, it makes me so happy watching them.
Congratulations to FB.
All right, you can hear what Irfan is going to type on Twitter, everybody. Congratulations. You're a live part of the process now.
That was the point.
If you watched, let us know what you thought about the game.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
That would be awesome.
I'm doing a congratulations to Barcelona, clap, 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 and then hashtag UWCL. So this is fun.
This is fun. Well, make it sound like it's fun then. Jeez.
It's so much fun.
Well, that's awesome. We got a Spanish winner of the
First
Champions League this year.
First time ever. I
Yeah,
believe.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Tables are turning.
Tables are turning. And we talked about it pregame, right? Like, this is good for the women's game. This is good for the women's game because it grows it in more places. Like, before the last, 15 years or something like that? 14 years? It's been Germany and France. Now you're getting English squads in the final. You're getting the Spanish squad winning the final. You're going to see more competitive teams, I think, across the league. And especially, and this isn't a good thing necessarily, but the NWSL, they were losing top players to Europe.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
For a while, the NWSL was really good. Now they're losing top players to Europe. That's a concern.
Well, I think COVID really hurt them because instead of doing a season, they did that tournament. And a lot of players decided that they didn't want to just wait to play the tournament and wait. They wanted to go play a full season. And they could do that by going to Europe. And I think that's why a lot of them left, is just to get a full season in.
Yeah, that's true. But even before that, you saw the exodus starting, though, before. And that was the concern for me.
For sure.
So we're going to see, hopefully, some great English squads. And we're going to see some great Spanish squads moving forward, right, Irfan?
Agreed. I mean, you saw how well Atletico played against Chelsea. Obviously, they struggled to put the ball into the net. But if, that you get one chance that Kirby doesn't score that tight angle shot, you're looking at an Atletico Madrid into the next round and not Chelsea. So there's little subtleties in these games that could go either way. Obviously, it's any sort of game can do that. But we're seeing a growth. Like, Man City is so much better than they were a while back, bringing in Lucy Bronze, having Sam Avish in the middle. That attack is good. They were a little hard done not to get through, but they lost the eventual champion. So you look at it and you look at the growth in the game, and it's not just, the French running away with it now or the one German team running away with it. It's a balance. And I think we're seeing that in a lot of the leagues now. Is like you're seeing more competition, more teams want to win. It's just a part of the process and is a part of the change in the game. And I think as a fan, I'm loving it. As a podcaster, it's like there's something to talk about every week. And then I think that's what we approve. That's what we appreciate, right?
Yeah, no, I agree very much.
Yep.
And this is such a big thing. I mean, even to make it to the Champions League final is huge for both of these teams. So it wasn't the game Chelsea wanted, but I think, they got to be proud of themselves regardless for getting there. So.
Yeah, and I guess the next question is where do we go from here, right? Like, what do we see moving forward from both of these clubs? Is Chelsea going to come back and make the same sort of run next year? Do they have the capabilities? Is Barca going to be able to try to repeat? And I guess those are two different questions, but Paige, you can go with either of them if you want.
I think, I think Barca's always going to try and repeat, because they've had a taste of victory. You can't let that go so easily. But I mean, we see, Lyon did it for 5 years, but as we've talked about, the tables have turned, right? And a lot of players are leaving France. A lot of players are going to other countries. So I think it's going to be more competitive next season. And I think you'll see a different final unless these teams can strengthen a little bit. I think next year will be interesting, really.
I'll hop right onto that. Yeah, I'm thinking for Chelsea to come back here, they have the squad for it. The only thing I guess they're going to have to work out now is getting a right back that doesn't get burnt. Yeah. Basically what it is. And I mean, if you're Barcelona, you're looking to add bodies. Jenny Hermoso is hitting 31. Mertens is hitting a higher age. You're going to have to find a way to get those players replaced. I think
it's going to be who's going to filter in younger players, who's going to have those benefits, like you're saying, they're getting up there. So you're going to have to filter in these younger players.
Of course, and it really comes down to, and that's why the fun part about all this is we're not just we don't have one or two juggernauts that are that we think is gonna win the Champions League. Like we would see in the men's side. I think this is the first time that it's so wide open that you can have 4, 5, 6, 7 teams sort of have enough capabilities and enough talent on their team to actually win a game. And you look at start from the quarters, and any of those 8 teams are good enough to win.
I agree. I'm
Yeah.
glad I posed the question because I got two great answers there. And let's not forget, like, Chelsea was missing one of their top defenders, right? And Marin Majelde. If
Mhm.
she's there, does that change this game?
Well, then you can say the same thing for Barcelona not having an injured.
Agreed. I'm not denying that.
Suspend. Yeah, I mean, does it change the game? Maybe not. Does she have a little bit
No.
more pace than her right back? I don't know, but
I don't think it changed I don't think she's that big of a difference maker. I think it helps strengthen the squad, obviously, but I think with the way Barca played today and the way Chelsea played today, I don't think it would have made that much of a difference.
would the game have been closer? Maybe. I would give it that. I think you're not seeing 4 goals go by, but again, if you're basing it and dictating it on the play that we saw, probably not. Probably not much. But
No, it's fine. I was just throwing it out there, questioning.
if you're Emma Hayes, I'll pose this to both of you. What's one positive? What massive positive are you taking away from the collective 90 minutes?
Paige, you can go first.
Yeah, I think that this is such a big learning experience for the team. I think it shows that you can't underestimate a squad no matter what. And I think, she's such a good coach that she'll take these lessons she learned this season and throw them into the squad next season. So I think there's a lot of big takeaways. I don't think they performed the way they did. Maybe it had something to do with preparation. Maybe it had something to do with nerves. But like we said, it's a big learning experience. So, she's got to take the positive. She's got to look at the positive. You can't look back at this game and go, we did this wrong. We did this wrong. We did this wrong. You worked hard enough to get there. So she's got to say to her team, at the end of the day, we learned that we can't underestimate any squad and go from there. And Barca was the better team today and they earned it.
Yep. So then I guess, Nick, I'll ask you this question then. What if you're, Luis Cortez, what are you saying to the ladies in your locker room after that impressive win?
Ole, 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 ole. They
He's
won.
popping
What's he
champagne.
gonna say? You walk into that and just be like, yeah, we did exactly what we wanted to do. We won the game. We came out hard. And after that, we settled into a system that allowed us to continue to press forward. The goal in the first minute changed the game. You can't tell me that it didn't.
They see them doing the ole, ole, ole.
Right? That's exactly what happened. The first minute goal changed the outcome of this game because now all of a sudden Barca's playing a lot more relaxed and Chelsea is on the back foot saying, okay, now we have to react. We have to play. I don't like the fact that they threw the red and blue kit on top of the green shorts.
It's not a good look.
I just switched back over to the feed. Why would you do that?
You're like in this deep conversation. You're like, I don't like that. That color is
That hurts your eyes.
That's just wrong. If you're going to do that, at least get the shorts too.
Go back into the change room. Come back in your full gear if you want.
They
No,
have
like
enough time.
I'm not saying you have to change. Just throw the shorts on over top like they did the jerseys because that's what they did.
Oh my god, you guys are so picky. Who cares?
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to be the Barca colors, you want to be the Barca colors. Why would you have green all of a sudden? Like, it just doesn't make sense. If that's your big issue, why?
So they've won. They're celebrating. They don't have fans. How do you think that feels?
I don't think they care.
No, you won. You won one of the biggest tournaments.
Yeah, but you think you look back and you go, oh, that would have been so much nicer to have,
For sure, looking back, 100%. But I think right now they're just like, hey, let's go get that trophy.
Right.
Right? Like they don't care right now.
Do you think when they go back home, they open up the stadium safely for fans and just sort of celebrate the
100%.
Yeah, there. So I think
Spain is open. Spain is open. Spain can do what they want right now. So they're when the bus is coming home, they're going to be there.
Banging on the bus.
Oh, this is so big for Barcelona. I'm so happy for them.
I also like the fact that Chelsea is watching the whole thing. Like they don't have to.
Don't the teams usually do that to get their second place medals?
I don't know if they're doing second place medals for this one just because of all the COVID restrictions. But because it just looks like Emma Hayes is holding her team back. Like Barca's near the stands and Barca's near the stage and everything, ready to go. Chelsea's in, to be fair, 2 separate locations at this point. and just watching, which I think is a
Yeah.
great move by Emma Hayes. Just saying, hey, listen, like we want to be there. Watch, see what that feels like for them,
Right.
and know that that's the goal, and we
Right.
will get there.
Well, and like we've talked about this whole time, she's such a good coach. She's such an experienced coach, and such a learning experience for them. So for her to say that, I think is class.
Oh, absolutely.
Just classy.
As the refs are getting their medals, gotta love that.
Yeah, a pretty good.
I never
refs
really
game.
understood refs getting medals for a final game, like maybe a plaque or something, like off the field. Why give them a medal? Like,
Because I guess they not a lot of refs get the opportunity to coach a big,
and
ref a big
that's what I
game.
mean. Like, I understand a plaque or something that they have, like, but a medal usually signifies that you won something. Like Olympic medals,
Right.
you won something.
Right. Should be more like thanks for
Yeah.
doing your job.
Referee
Like,
of 20.
they need recognition. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
For
saying
sure, because that's a hard job. It's a hard job.
but
The game was well called. So yeah, I mean,
Oh, they are coming on for their second.
oh, they are giving them. Okay, that's
yeah.
good. I just wasn't sure because they weren't anywhere close to the stage, whereas Barca's players were all lined up at the stage. I'm like,
Right.
Okay, so they are getting their second place medal. So maybe Emma Hayes didn't say, hey, let's watch this, but I'll give her credit. Say she did.
I think she would have regardless. Like I think
100%.
yeah.
this is
Acting
what it
like we
takes.
know her personally.
She's our best friend.
She's so great. I texted her earlier.
Yeah. She'll probably be friends with Kieran before she'll be friends with any of us, to be honest.
I don't know. I think Kieran wouldn't rub her the right way. Kieran's bolsterous. He's
But
a
he's not-
great coach, though. He's a great coach.
His opinions though, for sure, they're not biased all the time. They're not. He's one of the most unbiased professionals. It's about the game and how you play the game. So props to you, Kieran, if you're listening to us.
No, I love Kieran. Kieran is always the loud guy. He has that energy. He has that feel about him, which is great. You want that from a keeper to keep up the energy. Sometimes he took it a little too far in games, but he was just always on.
Wait, Kieran, like
Yeah.
Your goalie, yeah.
no way. Oh my God! Just click, boom, click.
It took a Barcelona win for you to remember it, eh?
I remember Kieran.
Am I wrong? He's
Kieran.
loud.
Oh, very loud, very very loud. From what I remember, very loud. Yes.
But it was all energy, which is what you want from a keeper, right? Like you want
And
your
goalies
keeper
are
to-
a little wired different, so.
Well, even he will admit that, so it's fine.
Kieran, long time if you're watching. Probably don't remember me, but long time. Oh my gosh, my mind is just.
I think that made her happier than the Barca win.
I don't know why it didn't click sooner. Sorry guys. I'm
He had
slow
a
today.
great collegiate career, and now he's a coach at U of T.
No,
Good for him.
super good
assistant
guy. Yeah.
coach at U of T.
He's on episode 4 or 5 of Touchline Thoughts. If you want to listen to him, BT
No,
does.
I have.
Yeah.
I just didn't
Just wanted
put
to
it
plug.
together.
That's all.
Yeah. That's just it went.
Yeah, he missed out on the team get together though.
Oh really?
Well, we had your brother Luke from our team, and we were gonna have Kieran on and just have this huge round table of the four of us reminiscing about the old days.
Oh my God, that would be hilarious.
We had 3. We did pretty good.
I saw Luke not too long ago, actually. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everybody, you guys all look so different. I remember you at 15 or whatever. So
You remember me with long hair? That's your problem.
yeah. Oops. Oh, look at them celebrating. I love that. You go, girls. I don't think I would kiss the trophy. Sorry, guys.
Because
Not
of COVID
before
or just
my
in general?
captain raised it.
I don't know if I would kiss it though.
I don't know whose hands have been on that. Is that
Well,
is
it's
that a
clean right? It was clean before anyone went up because they wiped
Would
it down
you-
about 8 times.
Would you kiss it if it wasn't COVID or just in general? That just seems
Just in
like-
general, not my style. But you know what? I've never been to a Champions League final, so I can't say what I would do.
Just hug it and walk away with it. That's what I can see you two just like, hello, this is going to Touchline Thoughts. See you later.
Yeah.
I would
We'll
I
be
would do the
back.
big raise and then I would hand it off right away, but that's always just my style. So
Here we go. Big Sally time.
I still don't like the green shorts.
so bothered by the shorts.
I am. I'm very bothered by this.
But I don't think you'd be the only one.
Wait for it. Woo!
I would like to throw out there, I love that Losada waited until all the staff was involved.
Yeah.
She called them
I
all
do.
over. Like, she held the trophy and said, hold on. Everyone, get over there. Because you are all part of this. This isn't just the team. And that
Team
shows you a
effort,
lot
yeah.
about what Barca is.
For Minnesota, though, she's been hurt or going through rehab for quite some time. And to be on the pitch right now, and also I think she madly respects this. It's that close unit thing that you're talking about, Paige. It's like you gotta build that family, you gotta build that relationship. There's no I at all. It's about the team.
Yep.
One thing I want to ask you, and this is back to the game, I guess. Are you surprised that Barca used all 5 subs and Chelsea only used 3, despite the fact that they were down 4-0?
I am. I'm a little surprised they didn't sub more just to make some impact on the game. But I think Barca also, you're up 4-0. You want to get players in and say, I got to play in a Champions League final. I think the coach, at some point you realize, okay, it's 4-0. It's the 80th minute. We've probably got this. So I am surprised, but I mean, I'm not a coach. I'm not in that position. I don't know what I would do.
No, that's exactly right. No, I was honestly just curious because you're looking at it, and the 2 players that they brought on in the 80th minute, though, or 82nd minute, are 30 years old, and then Losada they're both 30 years old.
Right. It's not the young players.
They're not the young players that they brought on. They brought on the veterans who probably hadn't been there before to give them the last run out for the last 10 minutes.
And I think that's respectful. I mean, I think that's, you're just as much a part of this legacy as the players coming up. So
I'm sorry, Losado came on earlier. Serrano, who's 31, came on in the 82nd minute as well. So you're looking at 3 players who are 30 years or older. The only one who's younger out of the subs, hold on, let me make sure I got this right.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just say that when they did lose in the final, these ladies were there. So I think getting that run out there for Losada to lift the trophy as the club captain, and also give your veterans a nod saying, we still couldn't have done this without you, but here's 10 minutes, go run out there, go play a game. And it's a testament to what this team's about, right? So
yeah, and just to confirm, the other 2 were 25 and 26 year olds.
Yeah, so they're not the young guns. They're
not the young guns.
Still vets at that point.
But I guess that's pretty much it for the game, right, guys?
Yeah.
That does. So we'll wrap it up. Thank you all for listening. Do we have final thoughts? Do either of you have final thoughts before we sign off on this wonderful Sunday? Nick, we'll start with you as the producer of today's episode and today's show. So thank you very much for putting that together. The graphics look great on our end. It looked great on Twitch. And to people who joined in, thank you to them as well. But do you have any final thoughts, bud?
We will see a lot of these 2 teams moving forward. And I think that's the best way to put it. This Chelsea squad is built to win. Are they built to win the Champions League? Not yet, clearly. Maybe they're 1 or 2 pieces away, but they're built to win, and they're going to continue to be very good in the WSL and continue to make runs in the Champions League. So we'll see them soon. And Barca is clearly ready to win and clearly built to win, and they were missing some of their best players. Let's not forget that one of their best center backs was out. They were missing Losada, who's been hurt. You add those people in, they're going to be even better next year, possibly. Like we'll have to see how it plays out, and I think the beauty of it is that we will be seeing them so much more over the next couple of years.
Yeah, well said. Paige, any final thoughts?
No, I think you summed it up pretty well. And, it's been an exciting journey for both of these teams. I'm excited to see what happens next season and how the women's game continues to progress. And, thanks for supporting you guys and thanks for watching. It means a lot to the players. And, even just doing coverage like this is such a huge deal. So, the more people that we can get to do this and follow along would be great. And just watch women's sports. Yeah,
support women in sports. There's a lot of great podcasts, a lot of great outlets that do what we are trying to do. So support them and keep watching the women's game, the men's game, and the finals in a couple weeks. So Hopefully we can get together for that. We'll see how that goes. But this was a great experience, the first we've ever done it here at Touchline Thoughts. And Paige and I will be back for hopefully another episode next week. But in the meantime, we will drop one more episode in the next day or so. So stay tuned for that. And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next match day. Cheers. That was